How about that? Gamecocks back-to-back walk-offs, back-to-back hero shots by Andrew Eister. Late Saturday night in 11 innings, and then yesterday on a beautiful day for college baseball at Founders Park, Carolina. 2-0 against Clemson on the weekend, and Gamecock fans feeling good about themselves in a big Monday morning to the early game. Bill, what you think of the big weekend of baseball?
Well, definitely something Gamecock fans needed. They definitely were in need of some positive energy. And the last weekend of February, as we flipped the calendar to March here this morning, you definitely get that. Not just that, you get men's basketball winning as well. So a all-around pretty good weekend for the Gamecocks. Certainly it didn't go well for the women's basketball team, but for the baseball team, an exciting two-game series that they'll wrap up now on May 11th. With that game up in Clemson, but South Carolina secures the series victory over the Tigers, and certainly a great start to the season now for this team. We'll see where they end up in the polls later today. I think it's when the new polls come out. So something to be happy about this morning after really also a beautiful weekend there. I know the weather on Friday calls the rain out, but you should have been able to get outside, maybe sit out and listen to the ball game on the radio and really enjoy some nice spring type weather. So I would have to say the Gamecock fans should be all around in a good mood today.
We'll see how it goes. You kind of touched on it in at large there. The Gamecock basketball team just sticking it to Georgia on Saturday. Jermaine Couisnard playing his best game, if not of the season, certainly in a long time. And Carolina rolling in Athens, and then yesterday, while the Gamecock baseball team was playing against Clemson, the USC women's basketball team was playing for an SEC title out at Texas A&M, and it didn't go well. A&M winning that game, and Carolina coming up a little short, something we have not seen in the SEC for a while. And we'll try to break it all down this morning. We see you up early with us on the live stream, the live video stream, sponsored by Buford Lending. 803-404-6100 is the number that you can get in on the program as well to text or call. KT up early, just saying good morning. Damon saying Carolina looked good yesterday. Chris says, morning, guys. Love that sound of the bats. Always love seeing them Taters get a beating. Gamecock baseball is back, and go Cox. So that's some of where the mood is this morning. Man, as far as the baseball, you could have asked for closer games, obviously, in walk-off wins. You could have asked for more dramatic finishes and a better finish for Gamecock baseball. And at 6-0 now, where Carolina starts the season, you couldn't ask for a much better start to the season. And just from our standpoint, Bill and Patrick, I don't think we could have asked for much better post-game reaction from some of these guys. Clearly, this Gamecock baseball team is having some fun. They had some fun with their post-game comments, and we'll get to those as we roll on this morning as well. Be remiss if we didn't start with the also mentioned yesterday the show of support for Tiger Woods on the golf course. Guys wearing red. I thought that was pretty powerful kind of stuff, and Tiger put out, I think, on social media, he appreciated the support, and it's always interesting to see. It's almost like two separate things, Bill. It's almost like golf and then Tiger Woods, because he's such a powerful sports figure. So it was interesting for me to see that yesterday. What'd you think?
I got to see some of it. We had a soccer game at 3 o'clock yesterday, and so I was able to catch a little bit of it early on. Tony Finau and Jason Day were the two, I think, that really – and Roy. I saw Rory tee off with Patrick Reed to start there. Those are the three guys that stood out. So I got to catch some of it yesterday afternoon, but certainly a neat little tribute, and we now kind of move forward and see what the verdict will be for Tiger. You assume it's going to be an extremely long road back, and that I don't put anything past him with his determination, but that was pretty cool to see yesterday, and a good little golf tournament. And we'll move into the Florida swing now. So to me, when you flip the calendar from February to March, you get days like we got yesterday. College basketball tournaments, conference tournaments are kicking off. You get the real meaty portion of golf starting to take place as now the countdown to the Masters is on. That'll be neat, and it'll kind of be interesting, Tim, to see if there's some kind of replicated wear red on Sunday type of deal at the Masters to honor Tiger, because you know he's not going to be a part of that. So if they plan to try and do something like that again, maybe to honor him there.
Yeah, no doubt. Just hard to believe that we're already in March. Hard for me to believe that anyway. It's hard for me to kind of digest all of that went down on the golf course yesterday. Relatively easy to digest what we saw for Gamecock baseball because it was right there in front of us. We were expecting a good series with a couple of good teams, and that's exactly what we got, even though you got the rain out on Friday. Bill, you mentioned it, that game going to be made up in May, so you only got 2 of the 3 games, with Carolina getting walk-offs in both. Let you hear what Andrew Eister, the hero, had to say about it, especially as we continue to roll on this morning. 803-404-6100. Love to hear all of your thoughts. We already got the Love Chevrolet phone lines up and rolling as well. Going to try to stay on time this morning. That means we need to take a quick break. Patrick holding things down, producing in the Herndon Chevrolet studios in downtown Columbia. Let's see if he can get the button right and give us to our first break here. You're listening to the early game. It's 107.5 The Game. Attaboy, Patrick. My goal is not to get the break sign too much today.
Oh, big morning. We're turning the calendar. The month of March is upon us, but some things continue to be the same. Those interest rates staying very low. And even though we're heading into a new month, it's still a great opportunity for you. If you're thinking about refinancing your existing mortgage loan, now is the time to get in touch with the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Give him a phone call this morning, 803-719-1005. You can email him the letter J, Crowder, Crowder at firstpalmetto.com. That phone number again, 803-719-1005. Jacob's helping people save $300 or even $500 monthly on their existing mortgage payment. And if you're thinking about purchasing a home, I know the housing market's hot right now, but it's a great time with interest rates being as low as they are. Don't miss a golden opportunity. Get in touch with the mortgage guru today, 803-719-1005. He's Jacob Crowder, the mortgage guru with First Palmetto Bank. All right.
So how was the weekend?
Oh, it was something. Went from Myrtle Beach to Charleston, back here yesterday.
Was that the plan originally?
No. We were going to go out on the boat in Myrtle Beach, but there was some mechanical issues, so boat never left the dock. But Saturday morning, I got up and said, well, let me go by Charleston and see what's happening down there. Turns out a lot was happening. And somehow I got involved in it. Came back yesterday.
Patrick, what about you? A lot of working?
Yeah, I mean, I was here all weekend. I was here from noon to 8 on Saturday.
Oh, boy.
And 10 to, 6 yesterday, whatever it was.
Everything okay with Jen? Is Jen everything okay? Would she just need to go back up to Illinois? Or?
Yeah, there are protocols in place now, but yeah, everything's okay.
So did y'all get Brian and Drew? Did Brian and Drew call in on Friday, and then you had them on the live stream, or were they just on the live stream?
No, they called in too.
we can go very long in this next segment if we want to.
All right, we're just going to 8:40.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, you took me by surprise how early you hit that break, Tim.
I know. How about that?
We never get out at 12. So Bill, yeah, you'll have AAA. The next
All right,
one.
yeah, I'm ready for that now. I'm ready for that now. Anything else today? Or just those two?
Corley will be the first break of 7:20.
All right.
Do you guys read the text from over the weekend?
No, I haven't read them yet.
You should read the one from Alan on the air. And then the angry listener guy said, "Tell the idiots announcing a baseball game to tell the score some."
Yeah, I saw that one. When I got back home, I popped up my computer last night.
Alan's is very funny though. Someone should tell Tommy to not be so biased towards Clemson and give the Gamecock some credit every now and again.
So what's the one that I should read, you said?
Alan basically said Tommy's a Clemson homer.
Wait, not Clemson Allen here, but a different Allen?
Yeah, it's
from yesterday.
Four down from Clemson Allen.
Wow. Good stuff.
We're back. You want something, Tim?
I'm sorry?
You want something?
Yeah.
We're back.
Play a little Eister, please.
Time you guys up.
Andrew Eister, the hero of the weekend for the Gamecocks. Voluptuous, Bill. That's the word of the day so far until we get to translucence, I think, a little later on, if we're going to be talking some Gamecock pitching. Carolina players having some fun in the post-game press conference, as they should after a couple of walk-off wins against Clemson. What do you think? Voluptuous? Have you used that lately?
Voluptuous?
That's a FL to start, I believe, there.
Okay,
it's not a real word.
That's what I typed in. I typed it in, and it came up. It said "plumptuous," and then I was like, "Well, I thought he said
basically means the same thing."
Look good.
Something that is awesome, hot, cool, pretty much used any place that refers to something that is good.
Wait, what? That's what you see for flumtuous?
Yep.
How'd you spell flumtuous? The only flumtuous I see is a happy fat person.
The way I initially spelled it is pretty much irrelevant to what came up. That's what came up. Flumptuous, F-L-U-M-P-T-I-O-U-S. Something that is awesome, hot,
flumptuous.
And so that's the closest thing I could come up with.
U-O-U-S, flumptuous.
So are we saying it's a word or not a word?
It's not a real word.
I love it. Patrick's taking my word nerddom to another level. Say, well, you're not even spelling the made-up word right. Come on.
You spelled flumptuous. He said flumptuous.
You're right. You're right.
I feel like this is an argument for the 12-1 show when Pearson gets into the English grammar portion of the day. I mean, look, whatever it was, Andrew Eister instantly puts himself up there, maybe not in the same realm as a Michael Roth against Clemson, but he gets up there pretty high pretty quickly, right? Like back-to-back walk-offs on Saturday, Sunday. When you just talk about the Carolina-Clemson series and not overall careers, but certainly for the Gamecocks. I think for a lot of us, you had hopes, you had expectations, but I think maybe there was a lot of people who were a little scarred, a little jaded over the last 12 months of Gamecock athletics and maybe reserved a little bit of excitement on Saturday. Saturday, how many did they leave on base? It was a ridiculous number. I don't have it right in front of me, but it was an absolute ridiculous number. And you miss opportunity after opportunity in a game that man, if they end up losing that one, no telling how people would have felt given all the opportunities that were there. But they end up finding a way to win that one. And then yesterday, you see what was it, the seventh that they fell by? I don't have box scores right in front of me, but Clemson scores 4 in the top half of the seventh to take the 7-5 lead, and then South Carolina's able to rally there over the next 9 outs, next 3 innings, get the thing to extra innings, and then pull it out there. So a lot of different ways South Carolina gets the job done in the 2 ball games. And now I think excitement, unfortunately, it's a good thing, but unfortunately for Mark Kingston, the baseball team, excitement goes through the roof when you get a little bit of positive energy in a Carolina sport.
Yeah, left on base for the Gamecocks on Saturday was 13 guys and a school record 21 strikeouts.
Yeah, 21.
I found it very interesting that they passed the school record that I think they set against Virginia in the College World Series in 2011. That was 20 strikeouts. They won that game, and then they won the game that on Saturday that they set the new school record for strikeouts against. Kind of ironic there, but yeah, leaving 13 on base, had a lot of chances in that one, but ended up getting it in 11 innings. And it was the home run from James Parker in the 9th inning that extended the ball game on Saturday up in Greenville. And then yesterday, you got a little bit more of a shootout with the 8-7 being the final score there. The Gamecocks getting another walk-off from Andrew Eister, the Flumptuous. Wes Clark living up to expectations, I think, in a lot of ways. Maybe not massive expectations, but again, a couple of more home runs yesterday, and the guy just continues to stay hot. Why don't we hear a little bit more from Mark Kingston? Mark Kingston was talking about or asked about Wes Clark in the post-game press conference yesterday, and admittedly, maybe a little self-conscious about saying too much at this point. 8 home runs now. I think as of the time he hit his 8th home run yesterday, somebody put out a tweet, and I think I retweeted it there, a national entity, I believe, that he had more home runs than about 274 other college baseball programs, Wes Clark. So he continues to, just rip it.
I kind of agree with Kingston there, but I felt like if anybody was going to jinx him, it would have been us on Thursday morning, right? Like, we're talking about trying to give him a nickname, and some people are like, "Whoa, guys! Like, let's let him just focus on his job and continue to not get too excited." But incredible for him as he continues to live up to the hype and show what he's capable of doing, and being a huge part of this offensive firepower that the Gamecocks have.
I thought it was a really interesting weekend from a strategic standpoint. Strategic standpoint is probably how you say that in English. And it started with Clark in the first inning on Saturday. Man on second base, I believe it was Brady Allen out there. And it was a 3-0 count, green light, and he rips one and beats the shift. But the fact that he had a 3-0 in the first inning where a lot of more conservative coaches would have said, "All right, hold on, let's take a pitch. It's early. Let's get. I don't quite want to put it all in your hands." And then the way that Carolina played small ball most of the weekend was, I think, a bit of a shift. And maybe it showed more trust in players to actually get the bunt down and move things over and come through in the clutch. Maybe this is just a bit of a strategy move for this specific team, or maybe it was just this specific weekend. But I thought it was really interesting because we've seen an evolution of baseball for sure with Moneyball and the lack of sacrifice bunting by and large going out of the game. We saw Chad Holbrook get criticized, I think, in his tenure for maybe doing too much of that at times. And then obviously whenever it doesn't go well, a coach is going to get criticized. I feel like Ray Tanner played that game pretty well and knew when to have his guys bunt guys over and play small ball, knew when to go for a big inning. Felt like, for whatever reason, the Gamecocks, from Mark Kingston and the coaching staff, certainly pushed the right buttons by and large this weekend, and obviously turned out well. Now, Bill, my point to you going into this weekend was Clemson series is not going to define your season. And 2 years ago, Carolina snaps a string and takes 2 out of 3 against Clemson and then goes on to have its worst season in 20 years. But the fact that it was so close this weekend and things went well for Carolina, I think is what Gamecock fans are relishing in this morning, especially after a long football season, a long basketball season, and not even having played Clemson in almost a calendar year in the biggest sports.
It's such a confidence builder. And I think, the players can tend to feed off of the fan base in positive, or it can go the opposite way in negative energy. And fair or unfair, this fan base right now really needed some kind of positive energy to just – I feel like it was Shane Beamer almost like trying to lead the positive energy vibe since about January. Just not a lot that has been going right to help him with that. But then you get Mark Kingston in this baseball program, and we'll see. You're right. There's a lot of baseball to be played. The SEC is going to be extremely difficult. There's no question about that. You got this fun series with Texas next week after this coming up. You got Mercer this coming weekend. Obviously, you got midweek games in between. But I feel like as a whole, not just baseball, not just one specific sport, the fan base needed a pick-me-up. It needed some kind of energy boost. And I think programs as a whole feed off of that. And that's why I thought this series was so important, was to do something positive and kind of get some traction going as we get into 2021. And again, you talk about it, I think it helps that for once we all saw positive weather over the weekend. I don't think anybody was having to row a boat down to Founders Park on Sunday afternoon or over to Fluor Field on Saturday. I think people were actually able, if you didn't go to the game yesterday, if you did go, you got a great baseball game. You had incredible weather to enjoy it. But I think people were able to get outside, and I know I sat outside after the soccer game yesterday with some neighbors and kind of was able to relax. I think all in all, this is the kind of thing that South Carolina fans needed to maybe turn a corner. And for the baseball program as a whole, again, think about this. They're 18-4 over their last 22 games. 12-4 last year before things got closed down. Now they've won 6 straight to start the season. I don't know what South Carolina baseball is right now, but what I do know is the fan base and the team has a lot of positive momentum as you get ready for a Mercer, for a Texas, and then I think it's Florida to start, if I'm thinking correctly. It's Florida first and then Vanderbilt second, something along those lines. So it doesn't get any easier. And you're right, there could be losses, but at least right now there's a lot of positive momentum and confidence within that program and actually around the fan base as well.
Yeah, I don't think people should be – I think people should just celebrate this and not worry about what it means going forward. We do that way too much. I don't know if that's a new phenomenon or if it's like tanking, or like in some sports, it's like you're either tanking or you're competing for a championship. One of the two. There's no in between. Like, let's take it week by week. And when you beat Clemson, you can be happy about it and not say, well, it doesn't matter because that's just one part. That's what Mark Kingston is supposed to say. He's supposed to say it's one series. He said something about they're not giving away golden tickets to Omaha after this weekend. That's how they think. As a fan, just celebrate the series wins when they happen, and worry about everything as it comes to you. You don't have to just say, hey, it doesn't matter, we got a lot ahead of us, it's just one series. No, that's for them to worry about. We can celebrate. It's Monday after a great series win.
Well, I think you're right. I think you're 110% right. What I think it is, when South Carolina baseball, Tim, see if you would agree with me, when South Carolina baseball was at its best, you're right. This was a weekend accomplishment, not a season accomplishment, because you knew bigger and better things were in store. I think South Carolina fans, unfortunately, have been beaten down to the point of, like, any sign of hope, you use it to say, hey, the baseball program is back. And I'm with you, Patrick. I think that's where because I don't think that the winning the Clemson series was celebrated or was frowned upon as much from, say, 2004 to 2013. Maybe 2014. It just wasn't, because you knew bigger and better things were probably in store for the baseball program. It still had a lot on the line, but I think when you've gone through 6 or 7 years like South Carolina baseball has, it starts to mean a lot more.
Yeah, but I just don't want people to, if this season doesn't end up in Omaha, look back and say, well, this whole season was a failure. It doesn't even matter that you beat Clemson. No, it does matter, because just think about how exciting the last 2 days were and how you were on the edge of your seat for 4 hours and you won in dramatic fashion both nights in a row and you got to beat your rival and how great it felt. So, yeah, just truly try to appreciate these things, I think, is the most important message.
And then you have Jesse taking it to the next level on the YouTube live stream. Good morning, early game. Feels like 2010. Going to the Natty. I'm sure Jesse's saying that a little tongue-in-cheek. A bunch of you weighed in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. No, KT from Lexington. What an amazing weekend of baseball. This team is living up to the hype. I hope they can stay healthy. There's a few infield issues to address, but the talent overcame those. Eister is the Tiger King. Clemson Allen. Congrats to old Gamecock Larry from Clemson Allen, he says in third person. We're going to go practice, but we will be back. Go Tigers. Well, why don't we hear from our favorite 86-year-old caller up early with us and showing his patience on the Love Chevrolet phone lines at 803-404-6100. Gamecock Larry, the floor is yours. 2 walk-off wins for the baseball team against Clemson this weekend.
Well, I tell you, I feel good. Clemson Island, you can practice all you want to, but you got to play hard when you bring the Gamecock. We're going to make the week complete in sometime in May. When I called my buddies Saturday morning, few of them are the Legion of Doom and Clemson Sun and all, boy, they answered the phone on the first ring, telling me how they was going to take our Gamecock down. Well, I called them Saturday afternoon, get the old answering machine. So I called them back again later that afternoon, and that evening the same thing. Called them back yesterday morning, same thing. Well, after they got the walk off yesterday, I said, I'm going to try to text them, but I didn't know how to text, so I couldn't text. So I called the hotline. I hope, but I'm going to tell you, we're going to go with the Gamecock men one. I'm not worried about the women's basketball team because Coach Don Staley got them all right. They'll be okay. They're going to win this SEC tournament. They're going to go on, and they're going to beat Texas A&M, I guess, 2 times. They're going to have about 2 games left against Texas A&M, but they're going to beat them both times. Don's got them all right. I just want to let Mr. Fowler on the extra point know I sure hope he doesn't bash Coach Staley and her women's team the way he's been bashing everything else Gamecock. I don't like it. He won't let me talk in the afternoon or 12 to 1 and put me on hold from 1 to 4. And I'm still on hold at 5 minutes to 4 and they go off. That's okay. Gamecock Larry's going to get his motorized scooter and he's going to come see you. It might be tailgating in football, but that's not all I got to say. Go Gamecocks.
Gamecock Larry, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing his personal beef with Pearson Fowler.
Who's more anti-Gamecock, Tommy Moody or Pearson Fowler?
Sorry, that's an inside joke. Apparently a texter, Alan, on, was it Sunday? Yesterday? He was hearing Tommy Moody enamored with Clemson and was asking for a little neutrality in the booth.
Literally no one on the planet loves Gamecock baseball more than Tommy Moody.
We're going to have to play the walk-off winner. He called perfectly on Saturday night, by the way. What we played at the top of the show, talking about he's never seen an outfield playing so shallow against Andrew Eister. That was not edited. That was in real time right before the walk-off hit from Eister goes off the Clemson center fielder's glove, which if he had been playing a step or 2 back and listening to Tommy Moody, likely to make that catch. Didn't happen, though, and Gamecock fans happy it did not, and the celebration was on in Greenville. Celebrating yesterday in Columbia. We keep it going on the Love Chevy phone lines. Chris, up next, wanting to talk a little Gamecock baseball, I'm assuming. Good morning, Chris.
Morning, guys. How are y'all this morning?
We all well. What about you?
Wow, fantastic. I come from a family of Clemson fans, but I'm a diehard Gamecock, and I have turned our 7-year-old son into a diehard Gamecock.
That boy.
were celebrating hard this weekend. I agree with what y'all said. There are many more stepping stones and many more bigger things ahead. But that was a wonderful thing we did this weekend. I have always believed that South Carolina has dominated this state as far as athletics being the preeminent university in the state athletically and academically. And then to be able to do 2 walk-off wins in 2 different ways, coming from behind Sunday, showing all the character that those young people and those young pitchers did, that was absolutely fantastic. We have celebrated, and we're going to celebrate until the next ball game. And go Gamecocks! The state is garnet and black until we meet again.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the phone call this morning. 803-404-6100 if you would like to join. Bill, what I heard there was bragging rights for the first time in a while. Gamecock fans, you mentioned last week as I was getting on you about a football mentality going into this weekend, but how much it means to you and the Clemson fans in your family and friends that you interact with and that you will be around here in the next several months. This gives you bragging rights. This, or if nothing else, it at least doesn't give them bragging rights in yet another way. Is that the best way to put it, man?
It's just it's a little firepower there when you go into Easter, when you sit down for a nice Easter lunch or dinner, whatever it is you like to do. You got a little firepower in there. It's been a long time since they've beaten South Carolina in football. A long time. So they can't really tell me about what they did in football in 2020 and basketball. Long time. So yeah, right now, baseball. Really stick to them at Easter, Gamecock fans. And I think again, just from a fan base perspective, just as a whole, it's been a beat down of the last 12 months. Just some things not going the way. You go back, basketball struggling at the end of 2020 or the end of their 2020 season to get into the NCAA tournament. The women's team, maybe that was going to be the pick me up that you needed, was looking like a team could go win the national championship. Instead, they canceled the NCAA tournament. Obviously, we know how football went. Men's basketball has struggled. Women's basketball's had some losses here in the last few weeks, but this is something that I think the fan base as a whole again needed, and you can hear it right there in Chris's voice. A little bit of positive momentum on a Monday morning, March 1st, 2021, and I think Gamecock fans are more than happy to put up the flags today and throw on the polo shirt with the C, the S, and the C, or the script Carolina, and wander around and let Clemson fans have a little bit of a taste of their own medicine here. Good job.
And it's one thing to win 2 games in a row against Clemson or sweep the beginning part of the series, but when you do it in dramatic fashion like that, I mean, it's something that South Carolina fans will remember that forever. I mean, how many years ago was it that Jeffcoat hit 3 home runs, and we're still talking about it 20 years later, 20 almost exactly to the day? So, like, when you talk about 20 years from now, you'll remember Andrew Eister 2 walk-offs in 2 days against Clemson. It's something that will always be ingrained in your memory now. So it's bigger than just a regular series win or winning 2 out of 2.
No, you're exactly right, and that's why I thought that it was a huge week series for the Gamecocks. Again, I understand and still understand what both you and Tim are saying about there's a lot of season left to play. Winning this doesn't make it a successful season, but it does change the vibe. And you're right, coming from behind, I'm seeing a lot of people already yesterday on Twitter. I don't know if this is what it's going to be, but they're referencing that it factor. This team has the it factor, and I think, who was it already? Jesse, who said, feels like 2010 going to the Natty. Well, that's because those teams had that kind of, was it just win mentality? Was that the phrase, Tim? I've already forgotten a decade later, but
battle.
It was
battle.
Yeah, battle. Thank you. How do I ever forget these things? But yeah, that's that kind of mentality, and so we'll see. Does it carry forward? That'll be the fun part. But hey, on a Monday morning, you can wake up, put both feet on the floor, and have a huge smile on your face if you're a Carolina fan.
That's basically what Patrick said earlier. And John, driving through Pawleys Island, love that take. Says it's not season defining, but it's a great weekend. Celebrate the successes no matter what. Anonymous Raj hits us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Someone, I'm positive, texted in on Thursday or Friday and said something like, let's see Wes Clark hit like that when he faces Clemson pitching. Well, he did. You're right, he did. And that is the massively impressive part of that. That's why we played you Mark Kingston's comment about Wes Clark and saying, I think that's another reason why he said, hey, I don't want to say too much. Don't want to jinx it right now. He is otherworldly for sure, adding a couple of more home runs and now 8 home runs on the season with a couple of yesterday. Andrew Eister should never have to buy a drink in this town again, Jesse says. And Donnie is pumped up this morning. So much joy in Gamecock land. Carolina baseball is back. We have missed it so much. We need to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Gamecock sound after the back-to-back walk-off wins over the weekend against Clemson. I also need to talk a little bit about what Frank Martin and company showed us on Saturday against Georgia. USC Wembley coming up just short yesterday against Texas A&M in its SEC regular season championship game. 803-404-6100 if you would like to join. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Clip.
Oh, I'm not going to lie to you. There are certain things in life I just have zero clue about. One of them is my heating and air unit. All I know is that when I want heat during the winter, I want it working. I don't want to be concerned about any problems for me or my family. I know this coming summer, I want the air working, and that's why I trust the best in the business. AAA Heating and Air, you need to do the same. 803-653-6163. How about this? Great deals from the folks at AAA Heating and Air. They'll pay you $1,500 to buy back your old unit, plus give you 0% financing with no money down. They'll take care of you. It's a family business, and that's who you want to trust with your heating and air, because it can be a little confusing. And let's be honest, you probably got a lot of other things going on in life. When you come home, you want your heat to work, you want your air to work. AAA Heating and Air can do that. They've got priority scheduling. Check out the website. Call AAAtoday.com is the way to do that. They fix all brands, no service call charge. You need to find out for yourself why the family at AAA Heating and Air will take care of you. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Make them a loyal part of your family. When that heating or air is not working the way you want it, call AAA Heating and Air. Again, 803-677-1500 is the way to do that. And tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
You switch phone numbers on me there in the middle? You switch phone numbers on me there in the middle there, Bill?
They've got, I just realized Josh sent me one phone number. They sent me another phone number. So we'll have to get to the bottom of that.
Let's see which one they got on their website.
Josh sent me 803-677-1500. The website has the other one I was reading. What phone number did you put up?
The first one you said? Yeah, I got the one on the website, 653-6163.
Yeah, I'll have to call Josh today and find out which one is the one I need to read. Yeah, I noticed that as I was reading the script and then looked at the phone number and I was like, wait a minute.
Sorry. Patrick, sorry about that. Oh, Jason's happy to have you back, Bill.
Yeah, I had extra sleep on Friday morning. Tough.
Yeah, so we had Brian at first for, I think, about the 7 o'clock hour, and then Drew popped on toward about 7:50, and then Stuart Lake popped on with them just via phone in the 8 o'clock hour for, I don't know how long he stayed. He stayed for about 40 minutes as well.
So it sounds like a very easy Friday show.
They did all the work. Patrick and I just kind of hung out, let them do all the work.
It's a great way to do it. Oh.
All right, Patrick, what you want to do coming back? How about we do number 10 from Eister?
Yeah. We got a minute.
Okay. That's pretty good. Nice work on the audio, getting the callers in there, Patrick. Oh yeah, Bill, did you see the subscribers numbers on YouTube?
521.
Hope is on our game, man.
521. Patrick, how long have we been doing this? Was that a full month? Full month on the live stream?
Well,
Did a month, yep.
you're up.
Andrew Eister, the hero, the walk-off winner in back-to-back games against Clemson. You can't even really make that up as I say it out loud. To get a walk-off hit against your rival in college baseball is as special as it gets. To do it two days in a row, back-to-back. I was trying to think when this happened that there's nothing I got following Gamecock baseball for a couple of decades with just a guy with back-to-back walk-off winners in back-to-back games, much less doing it against Clemson. So like you guys have said multiple times, it's not just that Carolina won, it's how they won and where the fan base is. Brett adds on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, I think everyone's so hyped up because it's been so long since we played Clemson in a sport. A lot of built-up hatred since we haven't had a rivalry week in a year. Add a little more fire to that rivalry this weekend. Another texter, anonymous texter says, great series win, won in extras, another walk-off. Can't be mad as a Clemson fan. Teams are evenly matched. Those big bats from Carolina and the pitching from Clemson will carry them to a chance in Omaha. And another anonymous texter says, can we all agree that the Saturday umpiring crew needs to see Sainsbury? Man, that was something on Saturday. You talk about a pitcher-friendly strike zone. That was no doubt the case on Saturday night, and for both teams, they're so frustrated. But it's part of college baseball, and you don't see a ton of college baseball televised, right? You had to go to ESPN you had to go to the SEC Network Plus or through the ESPN app is how I was watching this thing. And I think the more you watch college baseball, the more appreciation I have for Major League umps in a lot of ways, because 3-4 inches at least off the outside corner of the plate was what was getting called 50-60% of the time on Saturday, which, I mean, all you ask for as a baseball player or coach is that the umpire has a consistent strike zone. You understand, everybody's got a little different strike zone, right? You know how it's written in the book, and then in reality it's a little different. Every umpire's got a little different strike zone. Just call the same pitch the same way every time, and you can make the adjustment. And that was part of the frustration, I think, on Saturday night, is that it was inconsistent and bad. It's one thing to be bad. It's another thing to be inconsistent. But when you add them together, that is rough.
So you're more of the baseball guy between us. How does that change how you evaluate the pitching that day? Because on the surface, I mean, both stats seem to do really well. What, 5 earned between the two of them, 37 strikeouts. I mean, were they as impressive as it seemed, or just they truly did? Like, how many you maybe say 5 or 6 of those strikeouts shouldn't have happened? And
if not more. You evaluate that the same way you do when the wind's blowing straight out as a hitter, right? You still got to get the ball up in the air. You still have to do something to make something else happen, but you don't have to do as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I do think you should be excited about how the pitching looked. I mean, kind of all weekend. Yesterday, not as well, but Brandon Jordan, I mean, he got some huge outs. What was it, the 3rd inning or something, where they had a man on 2nd and 3rd, no outs, and he gets out of it with no earned runs? Like, really impressive. There's one wild pitch that Colin Burgess just snagged. That was filthy, but I think there was a lot to be. Ty Olenchuk's got some lettuce too, and he was kind of filthy as well.
As a true freshman from right here in Columbia.
That kid is good.
He's got some lettuce.
Yeah,
dude. Listen, I missed one day. I come back, the whole vernacular of the show has changed.
I've said lettuce a million times in the show before.
Really?
Don't listen much off.
I would have lost money on vernacular. Well done.
Yeah, look at you bringing the big words.
Real quick to change it. Did you guys see Heath Klein's tweet last night on the missed call on the field goal from 22 yards over the weekend?
You weren't watching Eastern Washington football as it was happening? Is that what you're saying?
Strange as it sounds, I was not invested in that game over the weekend. I happened to just see that clip last night. A 22-yard field goal that goes through the uprights, hits the scoreboard, but there's clear video evidence of a referee just not watching. Just not even paying attention.
Yeah, he was putting on his mask.
Mask issues.
Yeah.
And then just decides that it was no good, and there's no replay that they could use to overturn the call. Great weekend of officiating.
Chaz hits us up, says, had a Clemson buddy that I work with bet me they would sweep us this weekend. Looking forward to enjoying a delicious local cheeseburger.
Oh.
He says teachers don't gamble real hard.
Yeah.
Well done, Chaz. York. A few years ago, Gamecock baseball probably loses those 2 games. Progress is where he goes with. And another anonymous texter hit us up with win anyway, another battle cry from the 2010 National Championship along with battle. Good point. Yeah, that win anyway applies to Saturday with the umpire, right? That's what it is. You're not changing umpires in the middle of the game. And clearly, he wasn't changing from being not good to good, so you got to make the adjustment. And Carolina did enough. I think we do need to point out just how close this was, and I think that's what the texter was saying there, was that York pointing out what might have happened a couple of years ago. The line is so thin, and Carolina not the only program. It was a walk-off Saturday in the SEC. Did you guys see all the programs that walked off as winners? Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, Arkansas, I think all had walk-off wins. Alabama, I mean, a lot of those programs are the best programs in the country. You get there by winning a bunch of games. You got to win those games sometimes by the skin of your teeth. And that's what those programs did on Saturday. We'll see how it continues to play out, but no need to put it in too much perspective this morning from the Gamecock standpoint. Playing Clemson in a major sport for the first time in about a calendar year and beating them twice with walk-off wins, it just feels good for those who pull for the Garnet and Black. Hour 2 coming up.
All right.
Yeah, I was enamored by Olenchuk's hair. Baseball players' ticks are always really funny. Like, they do the same thing a million times. He, so many times, just had to tuck his hair back after every single pitch.
Reminds me of Dazed and Confused. Let's see, what do we got here? Good morning to Tanya. Already heard from your dad this morning. Good to hear that Larry's doing well. Morning, Kirby. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Baylor Teal behind home plate. Bringing back the memories for sure. Thank you, Jesse. Ole Miss dropped a couple of the UCF. I have to check that out. Patrick Shorts. Strong.
Yeah, it's hot. It's so hot in here. It's 80 degrees in this studio.
What? Turn on the air, man.
I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know how to work this thermostat.
So is that why you don't turn on the heat in your house? Is that the real reason why you don't know how to work a thermostat?
I know how to work my thermostat. I don't know how to work this one. It's not. I thought I did earlier, but it's not working.
Hey, I think based on past history, and I've tried to tell Jen this, I think it's wired incorrectly. I think the thermostat in the studio affects the one in there.
Yeah.
You'll reverse engineering.
I think because Jen would always complain, I'd come in every morning and cut the heat up in our studio, and then
you might be right.
I'd come in and turn it up.
Heat.
I'd come in and turn it up, and Jen would, like 40 minutes later, Jen would be complaining, and now I have to turn it down. But
yeah,
Sounds about right.
it's really hot. Because that studio gets cold.
yeah, oh yeah, I remember that. Today's the first day in forever that I'm going short sleeves here during the show. It's a
Yeah, I don't
little
have the
nippy,
heater
but
on in the garage. Pretty pumped about that.
you what now?
Do not have to have the heater on today in the garage.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it looks like it's going to be. It was called for a ton of rain. Doesn't look as quite as bad.
So I'm hoping I've solved the audio issue. I think I just need to get one more thing, one more little plug, and I think I can run the audio out of the access into the computer. Just like we would if we had a speaker set up somewhere on remote, so they can hear the show.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be the setup here. Coming up, maybe Thursday might be the earliest we get it on. Wednesday, ideally, but we'll see. Oh, some of these texters, very interesting to see on a day like today. Clemson fans not used to having to deal with this. Chris is digging the hat, Bill.
Oh, yeah, this is one of my favorites. Thank you. Yeah.
He's a big Yankees fan too.
Oh, yeah, I know, but they don't make Yankees hats that have the green B and the. I like this one.
I'm sure they do.
You're right. No, they definitely don't make a Yankees hat that has a green B on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I mean.
Gotta have the B. Was that for Bill?
Yeah.
All right, here is a good one. A good negative Nelly tweet to start or text. Anyone says this, oh, never mind. So it was a typo. Anyone says, it started with, anyone who says this is the best rivalry in college baseball is dead wrong, and then sit back.
Isn't?
Is it? Yeah, okay, that's good.
What else would be? I don't know. It's like Auburn, Alabama, the same thing.
No.
Is it the same as the football rivalries?
I mean, it might be, but the programs haven't been that good.
Isn't Alabama ridiculously good this year?
Baseball?
Yeah.
That might be all right. They walked off a winner on Saturday. I have never seen them be ridiculous good in my life.
I thought.
I'm trying to think other really good programs, but I mean there are other really good programs like Florida State, Florida, or Florida State, Miami, Florida, Miami, but it's just a culture thing. I would say Ole Miss and Mississippi State is what I would put second. From the college baseball standpoint.
Do Texas and A&M play every year in baseball?
No, I don't think so. I know they used to. I was thinking that one next. If Arkansas and Texas played every year or something like that, but they just don't.
None of them in the Northeast or Midwest are any good, or out West, I guess.
I mean, out West, you got great California programs.
Yeah.
Oregon State's been tremendous for a long time, but again, it's a culture thing.
Is Southern Cal good at baseball? I don't even know.
I think they have the most national championships of anybody.
Oh, so that's a yes. So that and UCLA is probably a pretty big series out there, I guess, because UCLA is good, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it gets it doesn't get the attention because it's. I mean, I think in that city, as far as things taking place, I highly doubt that that's at the top. If you've got anything with the NFL,
It doesn't scratch the surface.
Yeah, I was good. Okay, yeah.
Going out to the national championship series 11 years ago now in UCLA, there was like 2 media members, I think, from UCLA, and like 40 from South Carolina. It's crazy. Fullerton, you're talking about, Travis? I'm guessing. Fullerton and Long Beach. Yep.
San Diego State, they're good, right? That's where Strasburg came from.
Yeah, I'm not perennially.
Doesn't matter. They have the best pitcher in baseball.
Let's go with the walk-offs again off the top, Patrick, please.
Patrick, I'm texting with Josh. I think we got to cut a sleep number maybe at the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay. You got your first. You'll have Corley this first break. Yes, sir.
Music to Carolina fans' ears. That's Derek Scott, Tommy Moody on the call for the Learfield IMG College Gamecock Network broadcast. You heard it right here on 107.5 The Game. Back-to-back walk-off winners for the same hitter in Andrew Eister. 11 innings on Saturday night, and then yesterday in just a Chamber of Commerce day at Founders Park in the bottom of the ninth after Clemson had taken the lead 7-5 in the seventh inning, and the Gamecocks battle back and win that one 8-7 in 9 innings to stay perfect on the season. 6-0 now after the series win in just 2 games over the weekend, with that Friday game getting postponed till May is when you'll get the series finale between Carolina and Clemson. But a massively positive weekend for Gamecock fans that were looking forward to this, especially because there had been no football game, no basketball game, so almost a calendar year since the two rivals have met in one of the major sports. I know we had a texter that was all salty last week saying they played each other in men's soccer. All right, we got it. But this is a little bit different. And Josh hits us up to start hour number 2 on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Anyone who says this is not the best rivalry in college baseball is dead wrong. Also, any fan on either side that says baseball doesn't matter is usually the one pulling for the loser. What a beautiful day it was yesterday in Columbia. Fittingly, rainy and gloomy here in the upstate today, but I've got a light in my heart. Go Gamecocks. I think that sums it up pretty good, don't you, Bill, about how a lot of Carolina fans are feeling this morning, a feeling that haven't got to experience a bunch in the last couple of years, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think it's all the way around. It's good weather, and I'm not saying that jokingly because the month of February cold and rainy, and it's supposed to rain for a few days this week, but it's been cold and rainy. That's a little bit depressing, even if your team is winning athletic events. It's a little depressing, but you got a fantastic weekend of weather Saturday and Sunday. Then your team is able to beat their rival, and look again. I don't think anybody's unaware. The last 12 months for South Carolina athletics has not exactly been what you would want it to be, and so this is honestly the best thing that's happened in the last 12 months, right? I mean, it's not even like close. There's no.
I remember a young tweeter getting very excited about one football victory here in the last 12 months or so.
Thank you for calling me young, but
I mean, was a big win in football.
It was a bit. I'm not saying it wasn't, but this would be significantly greater than that, right? I mean,
well, it's hard because
now we know how the season finished.
Yeah, you can't really. If you isolate that game at the time, I remember the time. Hey, this is what Will Muschamp and the Travaris Robinson defense was supposed to be. You were sold on Mike Bobo and the offense having turned the corner and the whole thing. So it's hard to say. There's no reason to go back there on revisionist history, though, because this is different. This is the rivalry kind of ingrained in the late inning dramatics, heroics from Andrew Eister and coming through, and now bragging rights back on the Gamecock side in the rivalry. And that's something that I think you can't really quantify for a lot of Carolina fans. Like you mentioned, you're going to have the family at Easter, and they got the Clemson ties, and now you got this over them. So from that standpoint, I think you give the nod here. If you want to go football over baseball, I get that. But just like the texter said, college baseball in this state is just different than almost any state in the country. We were talking about it during the break there on the live video stream that's sponsored by Buford Lending, by the way. And Travis hit us up with, or Jesse actually mentioned one that I had brought up as well. Ole Miss and Mississippi State might be the only state out there that can compare when you're talking about an in-state baseball rivalry that means so much to people, that gets as much attention as this one does.
Yeah, Baseball America did some research. Baseball America said number 2 is Cal State, Fullerton, and Long Beach State, just ahead of South Carolina, Clemson, in terms of the greatest college baseball rivalries.
Okay.
Wait. So they have
Ole Miss, Mississippi State number 1.
Okay, so that's a national publication breaking it down. And Travis was the one who hit us about Fullerton and Long Beach. I would say from a national perspective in the last couple of decades, those programs not quite as successful as Carolina and Clemson, especially.
And there's just no way people care that much. I don't even know where Fullerton is, but there's no chance Fullerton media is as excited about that series as, well, maybe Fullerton media, because they don't have much else to talk about. But
I don't know. Those programs, those programs back in, I know it's not as relevant, but Cal State, Fullerton, and South Carolina had some incredible battles back in the early 2000s, especially at the College World Series. Well, I guess that's where it was. It was at the College World. You had Landon Powell versus Kurt Suzuki, I believe, and they both got drafted by the A's for reasons I still can't.
Kurt Suzuki, World Series champion. Washington Nationals.
There you go. Yeah. So, but you had, and Fullerton was good. And then Long Beach State, I mean, I feel like, Tim, maybe in the 90s is when they were a dominant baseball program. I can see that. I'm with Patrick. I'm kind of with you. I don't really know where either of those programs are at. I think it's Greg on the live stream that says, could there be a better campus than Pepperdine? And I guess he's referring then to Malibu. But I would guess that Cal State and Long Beach would probably be. I would think that in terms of fans and back and forth, it seems like a rivalry that would probably be pretty intense. A lot of people coming off the beach for an afternoon game.
Well, in those areas, so baseball intensive in California, and those schools, I think that's the big sport at those schools. That's why I can see you give them the nod, right? Whereas at Carolina and Clemson, it is football first and then baseball in a lot of ways. And then Ole Miss and Mississippi State, it's the way the state embraces college baseball, and no big league baseball, and the added importance, I guess, in that series that it's also an SEC series. But that is getting us off track from what we saw over the weekend, including a Carolina men's basketball dominant win at Georgia, 91-70, and a bit of a disappointment from USC women's basketball yesterday, playing for the SEC regular season championship out of Texas A&M and losing by 8. But it's the big-time win both Saturday and Sunday in a walk-off fashion, and the same guy coming through that has, I think, Gamecock fans riding high emotionally and feeling so good this morning. And that was your point in the first hour, Patrick. Yeah, you should. You absolutely should. And enjoy it. And don't worry about the rest of the season or put it in perspective today. Know that you have the bragging rights, and seeing some Clemson fans that don't quite know how to respond to this thing on the text line. Neil hits us up, says, congrats to the Gamecocks. Enjoy this moment in the sun. Talk it up big and rub it in. When something so rare happens, you should make the most of it. You never know when it may happen again.
Got boy.
This last text can't be serious. Cal State Fullerton is in Fullerton, California. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I hope that's a joke.
Well, I'm assuming they're referencing that, saying I don't know where it's at. I meant I don't know where Fullerton.
Of course. That's what I think. That's what I said. I don't know where Fullerton is.
Yeah,
just outside
obviously
of LA,
it's in California.
Florida State is a pretty decent rivalry as well. Yeah, we were going through some other ones, and you throw Miami in the mix there. A texter mentioned the Florida State one, but it's the importance to the fan bases. And neither Florida and Florida State, I mean, if you've ever watched the Gamecocks go play a game at Florida, you know that Florida fans just kind of ignore baseball by and large. They have a new facility now, and maybe that'll change a little bit, but the importance just isn't there like it is. And that's another thing I wanted to harp on. At Greenville and at Founders Park yesterday, and Mark Kingston actually touches on this thing. Maybe we'll let him say it. I'll stay out of the way. We'll let Mark Kingston say it. He said it best, I think, after the Saturday night win up in Greenville. Patrick, this is number 2 in front of you there. Let's hear from Mark Kingston right now, and the computer. How about that? Okay. Carolina head coach Mark Kingston after the first walk-off win Saturday night.
Baseball's back in South Carolina. That was a tremendous ball game, one for the ages, obviously. So great environment. It didn't feel like there was a pandemic. That was as loud a crowd as I've heard in a long time. It's just great to be out there. 2 good teams getting after it, competing, and we just found a way to win it.
Baseball's back. And that's how it felt to me watching these games. And we talked about it with college basketball a lot, Bill, how when you don't get a student body, especially, or much of a crowd involved, that it just changes. It changes the way that my interest level. I'm just not as interested in college basketball this year because of it. And just to hear the crowd noise and to see the crowd, especially at Founders yesterday, you had some of the cutouts behind the plate that kind of filled things in and maybe gave the illusion there were more people there than there were actually there. But just to see and hear the crowd really put me back in a pre-pandemic kind of sports watching mindset, and just to have that distraction for a few hours, I think for a lot of us is a really nice thing.
No, you're right about the fans. And we won't go down the path of the governor reopening some things or changing some laws and ideas. I guess I didn't read a bunch of it over the weekend. It starts today. It'd be interesting to see as we move through this month into April, into May, what the attendance level is like for games in this state and maybe throughout the Southeast. But it is neat to hear the ping of the bat over the weekend. I saw the 2 video clips because I was listening to the game, but going back and watching last night with the ping of the bat and the celebrating and hearing the fans erupt. And I'm back and forth on this basketball thing, man. Normally, this is the time of the year I get really excited for college basketball. Like really excited because we go into conference tournament time. You normally would have some kicking off this week. Some of the smaller conferences, and I guess you still have them kicking off. But yeah, the lack of fans and everything, it's tough. College basketball is just a different sport. I think I've realized that. We've all realized that more so now than ever. How different college basketball is when you take away the fan bases and some of the electricity that gets into arenas when you have student sections that are right there taunting the other team. And so it's nice to hear some of that this weekend, or at least hear crowd there at the 2 ball games.
Chris says baseball in South Carolina is just on another level. The Gamecocks, Tigers, Chanticleers, all good programs, not to mention some of the smaller schools, Charleston Southern, College of Charleston, Presbyterian. Yeah, worth mentioning, certainly throwing Coastal Carolina in the mix there. And also just the size of the state, the proximity, and how kind of a close-knit community it is. College baseball is different. And that's why we talked about it as much as we did last week going into this thing, and we'll certainly continue to discuss. I think it was Chris that hit us up in the first hour on the Love Chevy phone lines, and you can as well. 803-404-6100, talking about the young pitchers, especially for the Gamecocks. And that's something else that I wanted to mention. That one guy won both games for the Gamecocks, gets credit for both wins on the mound. Will Sanders, the freshman out of the Atlanta area, 6'6", about 210 pounds. And, man, he just not only came up big in big moments, but seemed like he belonged and relished it. And that's something that you can't – as a coach, you can project that, I guess. But I don't think in college baseball, especially at Carolina for a freshman pitcher, you can't exactly know how somebody's going to handle that moment. The fact that Carolina coaching staff had the confidence in him to put him in that moment, and then that he came through, not just once, but twice, was really impressive. And then the bullpen, Carolina ended up throwing 6 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, and a lot of those guys, freshmen, and really in their first big-time college baseball action. I think that's why Chris was so encouraged about the direction of the program. On the Clemson side of things, you got the true freshman in Olenchuk starting yesterday and looking as good as he did. Certainly a big reason for them to be excited, and they're even that much more younger throughout the lineup than Carolina, so plenty of reason for optimism on that side as well moving forward. So it as you're talking about Gamecock basketball is what sparked that thought in my head, Bill, because you talked about it, the frustration of an experienced team this year not coming through in the clutch. And we saw the version of Gamecock men's basketball that yesterday I think that we thought we would see for most of this season on Saturday, the dominating performance over Georgia, 91-70.
Yeah, and that just kind of, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Bad matchup. That was 10 straight now for South Carolina over Georgia. I mean, it's one of those things that we kind of talked about it. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago with Tennessee and South Carolina and the struggles they've had against Tennessee through the years and how it just seems to be a bad matchup. I don't know, for whatever reason, Georgia is just does not fare well against South Carolina in basketball. And certainly Saturday, you mentioned the performance of Cousinard and the way the rest of the team played. We'll see what they do here as they finish up the season. Arkansas and Mississippi State this week to wrap things up. But I just another shot. I think the good thing, here's what I do take away, the positive. The team hasn't quit on Frank Martin. I think there were some people who thought that maybe after watching that Mississippi State game. I'm sorry, not Mississippi State this week. Who do they have? Arkansas and somebody they played Mississippi State last week. But after watching that Mississippi State game on Tuesday night, I think a lot of people thought that maybe this team had packed it in and was ready to call it a season, get out of here. But at least you saw some fight, determination from them on Saturday afternoon and going out and being able to put up 91 on Georgia and hold them to only 70.
Yeah, so it's that makeup game against Kentucky and Arkansas is what's left for the Gamecocks. Arkansas, Tuesday night, 6:30, Colonial Life Arena. Tip time. We'll start our coverage tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. But Carolina is certainly feeling better about itself on the basketball court and stacking this 6-game losing streak. And it's incredible. 10 straight against Georgia in the series. And Frank was asked about it after the game, and his mind went back to 2016 when they lost 3 in a row to Georgia that year. And then since then, it's been all Carolina, and maybe just the way he answered that makes me think that he's still got a little extra for Georgia because they basically knocked the Gamecocks out of the NCAA tournament that year, and since then it has been all Carolina. And, man, Saturday was just part of that kind of confusing basketball season where we've seen them really, really good at times and not so much for the bulk of the season. We'll continue to break it down as we roll on this morning. 803-404-6100 is the number. Let you hear from young Will Sanders. having a little fun in his post-game press conference yesterday. This baseball team, Bill, it's right up your alley. They've got quite the vocabulary.
Yeah, the boy.
Another word will get you going. And then this will be right up Patrick's alley, too. I think more the millennial taste in music, all combined in Will Sanders' post-game comments yesterday. Let you hear that next. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
Clear.
Was a beautiful weekend, gave you a taste of the summer coming up. Probably one of the things you did is you looked at your pool and thought, is it ready to be used? Maybe this weekend you even thought about hopping in. But if it's a dirty pool, that's a pain. That's not something you want to deal with. And to be honest with you, having to clean it yourself, go to the store, figure out the chemical situation. You know, you can actually do it for cheaper than you doing it if you use Corley Pool Solutions. Flat rate pricing, and that includes all chemicals. They offer pool maintenance at a flat monthly rate. That's something you simply can't turn down, because when you work hard each and every day, you want to be able to come home, whether it's the middle of the week during the summer or to relax on the weekend and to actually enjoy your pool. That's why you have it, to be able to enjoy it. Have the experts take care of it for you so that when you're ready to use it, it's available. 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. 20 plus years of experience in the business. That's what makes Tracy Corley and his team the people you need to trust with your pool, whether it's pump and filter repair, salt water, chlorinator conversions, maybe it's just vacuum and netting, whatever it may be. Tracy and his team are there for you. They are going to come and help you, whether it's a spur of the moment thing or whether they line you up for a weekly cleaning. Tracy Corley is the best in the business, and you need to find out why. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions. Travis, I think you're thinking about 2 years ago when Georgia signed Anthony Edwards. That was the number one player in basketball from the state of Georgia. That was 2 years ago. Number one guy in the 2021 class is either going to go to the G League or Gonzaga. Gonzaga is actually going to have a really good recruiting class.
They are dominating.
They are. But, yeah, Anthony Edwards went to Georgia and obviously didn't do much, and then is now with the Timberwolves.
He had a ridiculous dunk the other night.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, check it out.
Yeah, that's so. That tells you. But no, Georgia did not sign this year's number one.
Yeah, Tom Crane's got to be hating life this morning.
Yeah. Oh. I have got to go to the grocery store. My refrigerator looks like a truly single guy lives here. There is nothing in there. I went to just heat up something for dinner last night. I had nothing.
All these chairs are squeaky. I don't know what to do about it. I have to move.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah. I have multiple computers to deal with. Also, I can't sit still. I'm just antsy.
Oh, yeah. Bill, did you see that? Eric Gilbert has changed his mind.
Yeah,
He's not
that's
got
interesting. I've heard some rumors about that. I don't know.
He qualified?
Yeah, I've heard that maybe there was not a lot of effort put into classes at LSU, and that he is
No.
That's why somebody texted me that last night. That's why he said he will not reveal what his next school is until he's on campus and enrolled.
You'll find out. You'll find out when he runs out for the first game wearing whatever uniform.
Pretty much, yeah.
You'll find out at the spring game.
Yeah. First practice. Maybe next week he shows up at Jackson State.
Somebody just calls to tell me that there's an obstruction on the roadway, which I literally just said on the radio.
Just being helpful.
I said, yeah, there's an obstruction on I-26 westbound. I said, is it mile marker 111? He said, yeah. Okay, thanks for listening.
Oh, Jen's not manning the phones this morning, people.
Yeah.
I said it nicely to him.
So, Patrick, did you get those other clips that I sent, that audio deal, Will Sanders?
Yeah, I have all of them.
Okay, let's play the one from Saturday. And then his comment. I think we just have one of his, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to do a little liner first, please.
Okay.
You got it? Liner, play-by-play of Sanders, and then his comment?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Also, did you know there's a construction on I-26?
Obstruction.
Obstruction?
Yeah, not construction. There's an obstruction.
Oh.
Total difference.
Put me in the category of not listening. My fault. Good thing
Total difference.
So on the Eric Gilbert, did you guys see Darian Kendrick is not with Clemson anymore too?
Yeah,
Yep.
saw that.
He definitely should have just gone pro. Would have been borderline first-round pick.
Has the date already passed? He can't do it now?
Yeah, it's too late. I mean, he could do supplemental, but
So I'm just going to do a little golf tournament thing here.
Patrick, am I done for the day with the lives? No love, Chevy, or sleep number?
you're done. Tim, you got 840. I don't know if I told you that.
You have not. I got it. 840.
Oh.
A week from Friday. Golf tourney. Yeah, that reminds me.
All right, we're coming back.
Yep. 1 week from Friday, teeing it up out at Windermere, our spring golf tournament presented by Integrated Media. Looking forward to being out at Windermere, 10 a.m. tee time. It's a 4-man Captain's Choice tournament. You can sign up right now as a team or as an individual. Just give them a call at 803-786-7888. And when you do that, Windermere will hook you up. Then you'll get to play $20 weekday rounds or $25 afternoon weekend rounds before our tournament tees off 1 week from Friday. That's March 12th, 10 a.m. out at Windermere Club. A portion of the proceeds donated to Camp Cole. We'll have breakfast and lunch out there for you, raffle prizes, closest to 10, longest drive, the whole thing. It's going to be a blast. Looking forward to everybody jumping over to Windermere 1 week from Friday and teeing it up with our 107.5 The Game Golf Tournament, sponsored by Integrated Media. Just had a texter hit us up at 803-404-6100 asking, who is that guy? Who is that pitcher, the Carolina pitcher, to get him out of trouble in the 8th inning on Saturday? Well, this is exactly how it sounds. Tommy Moody was on the call on the Learfield IMG College Network broadcast.
Sanders stretches. Pitch on the way. Chopper towards short. Khalil's got it. He throws to first. Perfect throw, and the Gamecocks get out of this mess in the 11th inning. Great job by Will Sanders coming in out of the pen to rescue Brett Carey.
Last night was a little more nervous running on, and then once I started throwing my warm-up pitches, it got a little better. And then once that first pitch came out of my hand, I was ready to go and ready to compete. And then today, here in Miley Cyrus, a little hoedown throwdown was great, get my nerves just completely out and ready to. And then also Miley Cyrus helps with the translucency of the ball, so it's great.
Hilarious, Will Sanders. The translucency of the ball, Bill.
What is going on? What's going on with this team?
It has.
I'm having to look that one up now. I don't even
love it. That's actually a real word.
No,
but of course, it doesn't really have much to do with baseball, apparently, unless Will Sanders thinks you can see through the baseball when he's listening to Miley Cyrus.
allowing light but not detailed shapes to pass through. To be transparent. What are they just throwing stuff out? Is Kirsten Fowler been going down there in the afternoons and working with them on the vocabulary? Is that what's happening?
Whatever it is, I'm all for it.
They have been making fun of someone. They're definitely making fun of someone.
Someone, yes.
Well, you know, Gamecock hitting coach Stuart Lake tells us that they basically have a game within the game with the hitters where they keep points for their at-bats, right? And you can argue for points. You got a certain amount of time that you can say, hey, because I did this, I deserve a certain amount of other points. I'm guessing they might extend this points game to the post-game press conferences and who can work in the most impressive words or ridiculous words.
You think that's what it is? You think they have a big? You think they have a big whiteboard in the locker room, and it's how can you fit these words in today?
Translucency.
Is that what it is?
Sumptuous. I mean, it might be. Whatever. You're supposed to enjoy winning, and this goes. Let's play this from Andrew Eister talking about having fun, Patrick. Because if you looked real closely, you saw what is that thing called, a scythe, basically something a Grim Reaper would carry. That was in the dugout. And apparently Brady Allen's nickname is the Soul Reaper, and Andrew Eister was asked about that. And there is something to this, to not being so serious all the time. For Gamecock baseball, here's Andrew Eister talking about it.
On to the game, and I mean, it's the game can be a lot of pressure, and I know that personally. It can bring a lot of pressure and anxiety, and whatever you can do to make it more fun and calm the nerves, it helps out tremendously.
There's something to it. And I don't want to overstate it this morning, Bill, as the Gamecocks got a couple of walk-off wins over the weekend. They're 6-0 now. It doesn't mean they're destined to go to Omaha and win a national championship, but it's a heck of a start. And to me, you got to enjoy it, especially when you're winning. And you make those plays, and you got to celebrate a couple of times back-to-back against your arch rival. You got to enjoy it. We saw it was the Spirit Stick back in the day from the national championship. You had the pet fish Reptar, I think, one time. And Gamecock baseball teams have kind of been known for this through the years. I think maybe even like during the Justin Smoke days where they didn't go to the College World Series, that was one of the explanations for why maybe it didn't happen. Maybe they took it a little too seriously. To hear that from Eister and this team, just 6 games in, it makes me think that this is a group, and we kind of heard this from Stuart Lake when we talked to him last week. He said mentioned it like that 2000 team that has the collection of personalities that you need to kind of balance that being serious with having fun as well. That's how I see it.
Oh, it's the same thing. When you're winning, it's all fun and games. I remember as things kind of turned in the Chad Holbrook era, there were things that they were doing in the dugout. I think they were doing that duck hut thing one game and they were getting smoked by Vanderbilt, and we didn't find it quite as funny back then. You're right. You got to win to be able to enjoy it, and for it to. Otherwise, if you're doing it and you're losing ball games, you're not taking the game seriously enough, right?
Right.
You need to be more focused. You need to cut that out. So we'll see. I think we've summed it up well here in the first hour and a half. It's a great weekend series for this team, and it's certainly a catalyst and something that could be used as a catalyst for bigger and better things. But there's only so much that you take away from this weekend and put it on to the rest of the season. Now you got to go and you got to win tomorrow night against Winthrop, and then you got to go and have success against Mercer and against Texas, and then on into SEC play. Otherwise, this particular 2-game series doesn't mean as much. But right now, I think it's a confidence booster. It's a confidence booster for the program and for the fan base.
So at Winthrop tomorrow night, they'll play a couple of games now with Winthrop in the early season, and then Mercer, like you mentioned, I think a home series this weekend, and the big one at Texas coming up after that is what's on tap for Gamecock baseball. A bunch of you weighing in, as you might imagine, on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Quarter hits us up, 803-404-6100, says, I despise the upstate team and the color orange. I don't need orange M&Ms. However, it is a good feeling that both major in-state schools have really good teams again. Maybe we will meet up in Omaha. It's still awfully early to project college baseball, I feel like, but what we saw over the weekend, I think, encouraging for both programs for sure. Kurt says, typical Clemson fans, I know, they'll swear they didn't even know they played this weekend, but if they'd won, you'd be hearing about it. Go Gamecocks. Sharp spur because a little bit more dramatic. The sun's a little brighter. Air's a little bit cleaner. It just feels right. Go Gamecocks. The only Clemson fans that thought we were going to sweep this weekend are all named Clemson Larry, anonymous texter says, to continue the back and forth. Another anonymous text coming in, just that Cal State Fullerton, that is in Fullerton, California. I'm just now getting to that on the text line. Another Clemson fan weighing in, Clemson Sean, just 4 letters this morning. Pain. I give Clemson Sean some credit. He can admit it when things aren't going well. David hits us up on the live stream on Facebook, says, love the show, guys. Good to be able to put some faces to the voices on the radio. Thanks for tuning in at the live video stream. We appreciate that, David. He said, just moved to Lexington, picked up the show, and FYI, Miley Cyrus and baseball should never be in the same sentence. Go Gamecocks. I'm with you on that one. But Will Sanders says he just loves the movie Hannah Montana. Or maybe, I guess that was
Is it a movie? That was a show.
Both? It was just a show. I'm not a Miley Cyrus expert.
It's a show and an artist.
There you go. Patrick, I assume that's your area of expertise. Is that correct?
I don't know about expertise. I like Miley Cyrus. I think she's very talented. Some of her music is not right up my alley, but in her last album, she had some pretty sweet rock and roll coverage. I think she's got an awesome voice. She had look up her cover "Zombie" by the Cranberries, right? Yeah, Cranberries.
Yeah,
awesome.
Okay. That's 25-year-old Patrick keeping us young here on the show. Again, 803-404-6100 if you would like to weigh in on the program. Hot Sauce Ross in this weekend with a picture, or in this morning, I should say, with the picture, the wrecking ball picture of Miley Cyrus. They didn't need that necessarily. And Matt hits us up this morning. I need you to calm down with a millennials reference. We're all in our 30s with children and are yelling at our parents for doing too much during the pandemic. This is a different generation. Thanks, and go Gamecocks. Okay, man. My apologies.
Yeah, you calm down over there with your millennials reference.
You guys are borderline millennials.
Now, Bill is a millennial, I think, at 38 years old, sitting here this morning. I'm the guy on the borderline at 43.
Well, yeah, you guys and me are like the edges of
The generations.
Like I'm the oldest or the youngest of the millennials.
Yeah, the youngest.
And you guys are towards the edge of like the upper realms of millennial.
No comment, Bill.
I'm me.
Do you not want to be a millennial?
I'm me.
It's like
old school, new school, a little bit everything.
Back to the text line.
Multi-talented.
Yeah. Multi-generational.
Trey says, I was pacing on Saturday and Sunday. All I could think was, dang, it feels nice to have something to pace about. Glad to hear the nicknames have been stated. I think that brings us back to what Mark Kingston was saying. It didn't feel like we were in a pandemic with the Saturday baseball game and the crowd and the tension and how close these games were. That's a great feeling to have. It's nice to be in this place. I think even if you're a Clemson fan and you came out on the wrong side of this thing, I think you can at least hold on to that. It felt like baseball and a lot back to normal, I think, for a lot of people. Maybe that's just me and I'm overstating it, but I think that Mark Kingston was talking about just how nice it was to be back in that place just as a sports fan watching this thing. And in February for college baseball, this is where I think our state is different than a lot of other states for sure. As we turn the calendar to March now, though, it's March Madness time. We'll talk a little Gamecock basketball when we come back. A dominant performance, the 10th straight win for Carolina over Georgia. That's next here. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
Oh.
Wow, that's pretty strong there, Peter. Wow, buddy.
What? What's the point of hating on? Why are we hating on Miley Cyrus? Just because you don't like her music. She's talented. Can't deny that.
It's texting fair. I think Bill has gone off camera to take a nap.
Stretching on the floor. Got up, did some stretching. Oh. I didn't sleep particularly great last night.
Got to change the sleep number.
I kept having like really weird dreams. One of the dreams was I couldn't log on to the access, and then so I woke up, and then I had a dream that I was stuck downtown at like 5:45, and I was just like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to go into the studio and do the show. I don't have time to get back, and also probably didn't help. I was having dreams about people being in my house.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Looks like Patrick's got a buddy here.
Oh, everybody to the streams. You know what I did buy on Thursday, Jan? Or Friday? Thursday or Friday? And I haven't opened it yet because I don't know what to mix it with, but they had Crown Peach. And I've heard so much about it. And it was about $27, $28, which was cheaper than whatever. So I bought a bottle of the Crown Peach. But I don't know what I'm supposed to mix it with. That cat last night was on my roof. Were the cat people in your house? That cat last night, there's a little, looking out from my bedroom, there's a little area in the roof. It's not a porch. And I go to look out because it was a beautiful moon last night. Brown peach and apple juice. Okay.
Did you see the text from the weekend that said Tommy jinxed us?
No.
So I'm going to see if I can find it here in this next break. Apparently, the last caller said, have you guys mentioned what Tommy said? I said, what'd Tommy say? Tommy made a comment about when it was 2-1, hey, this has been a really short game as long as no other runs are scored and they don't tie it up. And then apparently, like, less than a minute later, they tied it up.
Bill, I tell you what I have gotten into is the Crown Apple and cranberry.
Whoa, apple and peach together?
Well, I don't mix them together, but yeah, they had a bottle. I just wanted to. I've got it in the in the cabinet now in case somebody wants to try it. I mean, it's not something that I can only have 2 crown apple and cranberries per day. Yeah, it's an early drink. I can't go straight to the heavy bourbon in the morning. So Crown, Peach, and Sprite, huh? Okay. Interesting. Or apple juice.
Apple juice, Chris. Wow.
Really? Salted caramel Crown? What do I mix that with? What would you mix salted caramel, or do you just drink it? You put it on the ice and just. It's getting that time. Yesterday, I didn't have a cigar yesterday, but it's definitely getting that time where you can sit outside and actually enjoy sitting outside. I asked the liquor store guy about that. He said Crown Peach, they might keep it.
We're coming back.
Yeah. You don't just have to wait till our shows come on to get your hot takes out. The hot take hotline there for you 24/7, 803-978-6654.
And 1 hour
that it's there for you. Sponsored by Twin Peaks for the men who never settle. Go see them down in Vista, 600 Gervais Street. That hot take hotline again, 978-6654. The number to get in on the show live while we're doing this thing live. Whether you want to text or call right now is 803-404-6100, and a bunch of you weighing in about being millennials and zennials, and Oregon Trail generation, and all right, got it. Somebody hit us up a little bit earlier. This was Tim over at Chapin, I think, about the frustration from Carolina basketball. How do you play so bad most of the year, but then come out against a good Georgia team and have an extremely solid game? Is Georgia just not as good as hyped, or South Carolina's game plan against them just solid? I know they've been in some close games over the season, but it's nice to get a win. It wasn't just a win. That was a dominating performance, man, 91-70. And it is head-scratching, I think, to most of us on the outside looking in, how at times this year they have been so good and it hasn't just sustained. Well, what about Trayvon Manott there to start the game? They're throwing it down low and he's getting some baskets in the post. Frank Martin after the game says, and that excites me. I'd like to see that. What we saw on Saturday was a Frank Martin coach team, a tough team that played defense and played well. And unfortunately, it hasn't been what we've seen for most of the year. You got an explanation for us this morning? Are you the basketball guru that has it figured out?
No, none of us have it figured out. I do wonder, and you look at the lineup that he went with them, and not only played 10 minutes. And so you have Levesque, who played 27. Hannibal gets back in there for 22. I don't want to get stuck on last week, but Trey Hannibal right now, look at the stat line again, guys. I mean, look at the stat line again. Now, this is actually a very impressive stat line because there's 0 turnovers. But Trey Hannibal on Saturday, 22 minutes, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals. It fouled people twice. 6 of 8 from the field. You look at him and Jermaine Cousinard, and this is the one thing I wonder about this basketball team and why I'm not willing to say that they're not a talented group of players. I just don't know if they understand how to play their roles. Because to me, guys, it feels like there's players on this team that could be good basketball players that could compete in the SEC that are better than 4-10 in conference. And that's why I don't necessarily buy this is a basketball team that's obviously struggled. I don't think Patrick's wrong when he says they're a bad basketball team. But I feel like it's more of a chemistry issue than it is a talent issue. And when I see Cousinard and Hannibal combine on Saturday for 38 points, and again, what's impressive to me is, although Cousinard had 5 turnovers, he's not a point guard. But when I see him combine for 7 assists, that it's just, I think it's roles to me more so than talent. If that. Are you guys willing to agree with that, or are you just going to go straight to they're just not a talented team?
No, it's a chemistry issue.
Yeah,
right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
the chemistry of this team has been off in multiple ways throughout the season. And now it seems to be, listening to Frank after the game, that Keyshawn Bryant is stepping forward and using his voice. And I think maybe because it may, I was going to say it comes naturally. Maybe that's not the case, because Frank was talking about how he never used to talk at all. But it seems like on the court, it can come naturally to him to lead in a pretty demonstrative way. And he's also backing it up with playing really well. He had 17.7 rebounds and, clearly one of the most exciting guys that we've seen in the Gamecock uniform in a long time. But maybe that's part of the missing piece of chemistry, or maybe this is a much simpler way to look at it. For whatever reason, Carolina has Georgia's number. And it's the 10th straight in the series. And Frank Martin certainly knows how to game plan against Georgia here in the last 10 games. Also seems to know how to do it against Florida. Outside of that, it has been a struggle by and large for this year's team. I guess Texas A&M and Buzz Williams, you can throw them in there too.
Here's something that I noticed on Saturday. And Couisnard's got to improve for next year. I mean, I'm not saying that he's got to get a lot better. Couisnard, more so than ever, is not a point guard and has to shoot the ball. You guys see, are you guys looking at the box score right now? Do you know off the top of your head how many shots he took on Saturday?
I do not know off the top of my head. I would guess a dozen-ish.
16, led the team in shots, I believe. I was comparing him. A.J. Lawson had 11. 16 shots. Couisnard is a shooter. He is a guy who's going to go out and let it fly. And I don't think that fits well with A.J. Lawson, who is also a shooter. And then you've got a few other guys. Like it's almost like you don't have enough what I would define as role guys. The dirty. I think Keyshawn Bryant could be that guy. But it feels like there's a tug of war for the basketball game, and to get shots up with this team. And you Trey Hannibal seems to fit in there well. I'd be interested right now in a lineup of Hannibal and Couisnard, Bryant. I really am a big fan of Trayvon Minott. I really do think that in terms of big guys that have been brought into the program, I like him a lot. I think he's got to develop a lot. I'm not saying he's all SEC or that he's going to end up being some kind of All-American. But for his start, if this is his baseline, if this is his starting point, I like it. I just think that the chemistry on this team has got to be sorted out in the offseason, and that you've got to have guys with more defined roles. I don't know if Seventh Woods coming back for another year at point guard helps. I don't know if Jacoby Wright, the recruit coming in at point guard, helps. I don't know if there's development in Trey Hannibal. There's a lot of things that need to happen, but I think that getting some kind of defined roles for this basketball team is how they get better in 2021, 2022.
Certainly 2021 off to a great start for Gamecock baseball, now 6-0, including the back-to-back walk-off wins against Clemson over the weekend. We'll continue to let you hear more of what Carolina players and coaches had to say about after the weekend and doing it in multiple ways. Andrew Eister being the hero, having some fun, and Gamecock fans have bragging rights this morning. If you're seeing some Clemson fans just in a strange place, this might be why. But I think, Bill, you would encourage them. Patrick, I know you've already encouraged it. Go ahead and give them all the business you want to give.
That's right. Just enjoy it. Have a fun day.
Back-to-back wins in walk-off fashion. Always fun. I can't believe someone criticized Tommy Moody, called you up and said he jinxed Carolina or jinxed. Did they not also point out that he basically called Andrew Eister's walk-off hit on Saturday night? Hour 3 coming.
Quick.
Patrick, do you want to do the sleep number right now, or you just want me to cut it at the very end of the show?
We can do it. No, let's cut it at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, let's cut it at the end.
That's no problem. Oh, boy.
Any NFL drama? I didn't see any over the weekend, Patrick. You?
Yeah, there was. This video of Drew Brees pushing the sled came out, where it looks like he's very much training to stay.
Oh, Drew Brees is coming back.
Oh, no. Dude.
Yeah, he's kind of holding the Saints hostage right now.
He's coming back.
It's not great.
That must have been Eddie who called you because he just texted. It was all in humor, Tim. I love Tommy.
Also, I got a new Edge 1.
What?
You knew what?
New Edge 1 after watching a lot this weekend.
A new Edge 1?
Yep, best edge rusher.
So
Number
you're just going all in on the Shane Beamer new. Yeah, you're just going to call them edges now?
What?
That's what their depth chart did instead of bucks or whatever. They just started calling.
You look at any
edge
draft
guys.
board. That's how they do it.
That's how they do
Edge
it.
rushers.
Come on.
Sorry.
How many draft boards are you looking at?
Come on. That's what they call him. Yeah, Edge. He's Edge 1. Ed Jalen Phillips, by the way, is Edge 1.
From Miami.
Yeah.
He was originally at UCLA. They went to Miami.
Yeah, there's no shot that he's going to do. I would be surprised if he actually goes in the first round, though, because, he medically retired from football already and then unretired.
Wow.
When he was at UCLA, he got a bunch of concussions, and in 2018, he retired, took 19 off, came back in 20, and was awesome. So I'd be surprised if someone used the first-round pick on a kid that's already retired, but he's unbelievable.
So you really like his flexibility, do you?
He's a freak athlete. He's a freak athlete. He was the number 1 overall recruit in 2017 in the country. He would, if there, I bet you he's going to run like 4.5.
Don't worry, KT. Don't worry. Apparently, Eddie was just joking. Just messing with Patrick. Is that true, man? Just finished chicken coop over the weekend? Oh, boy.
I have the highlight of Tommy doing that. It's not as bad as he said.
Sounds about right.
But it was. I cut it the timing in between. Tommy said, you can listen to our post-game report with some of the highlights from the game. Haven't been a lot of highlights unless they tie it up here and send it to extra innings.
Nice.
But the way I have it cut makes it sound like it was better.
Take some eggs out of that chicken coop. It's pretty aggressive, the old Soul Reaper scythe in the dugout. Bill, you got to get that coffee going today, man. And he's gone. I need some help with this, Chris. You've been doing the peanut butter whiskey and terrapin chocolate stout. So are you alternating whiskey and beer here, or is this separate? I'm hoping that's separate.
Some Boilermakers.
Right. Basically call it a Reese's cup? You got the peanut butter and chocolate going?
Dude, I like Guinness is my favorite beer, but I've never been a fan of the coffee or chocolate stouts.
So heavy.
But I love stouts because, I'll drink Guinness all day long.
I had a girl Hope, 600 by the end of the week. I think we could try it by Wednesday. We're up to in the 20s already, right?
Yeah. We just got to shout it out in the 8 o'clock hour. That's when the most people listen. That's when our numbers really jump up.
It is. We have officially hit the 8 o'clock hour, sir. Chabro is just pumped up this morning. So we'll start again with the walk-offs, Patrick.
Cool. Got some Guinness Baltimore Blondes in my fridge right now.
Interesting.
Baltimore Blondes, yeah, because they opened up, and there's only 2 Guinness breweries, one in Dublin and one in Baltimore, Maryland. They have like an experimental brewery in Baltimore. It's pretty sweet. No TVs though in the whole place.
How is it experimental?
Like Guinness the one in Dublin only makes their traditional stout, like their regular Guinness, but they are experimenting with like micro brews and things like that. Just non-traditional Guinness drinks. So
Gotcha.
they don't use the old one. That one's just got one purpose and one purpose only. But I went there I was fully planning on spending like 10 hours there last time I was home, and then it was I found out that there's no TVs in the entire place, so we just got one drink and left.
What were you wanting to watch?
It was there was a big day of lacrosse that day.
Oh,
Yes. It's the
Big day.
most Baltimore thing I've ever heard.
This is also I can now only watch lacrosse in this studio because the ACC network has picked up like all of the ACC lacrosse games, and I don't have the ACC network.
you can only watch lacrosse in the studio.
Yeah, because these TVs have the ACC network, and I can't get it
So
on.
basically, if somebody comes in there to do work and you're just sitting there with a Guinness chilling watching lacrosse, we know what's going on.
Well, thankfully, I spend between 8 and 10 hours here every day of the weekends now, so it works out. My whole weekend is in the studio.
How about the hard ciders for KT? You guys in on that?
They taste good, but I would never buy them because I would get made fun of.
Yeah, I put a tweet. I was at Windjammer on Saturday, and I put that tweet out about the Natty Light seltzer drinks
Right.
that some of the frat boys were drinking. I wasn't sure if that was frowned upon, acceptable. I wasn't sure how that was going.
Nah, they're not frowned upon. Everybody's drinking seltzers now.
The Natty Light seltzers.
Yeah.
He had a strawberry lemonade one.
Was it a natter day or was it a seltzer?
Wow.
Stout seltzer.
Okay.
I think it was a seltzer. I swore I saw seltzer on the can.
No, they're good. They go down really, really easy. It's kind of dangerous.
Well, coming from look, I rang up 2 $100 cabs, one at Coconut Joe's and one at Windjammer on Saturday. So I would say they're not the only things that can. There's other stuff.
Attaboy, Jesse.
1-2 pitch. There's a shot, and it's going to be over the head of the center fielder. The Gamecocks have won this game. They played shallow, and they got burned on Andrew Eister. Unbelievable baseball game. 2 outs in the ninth. Ball hit well. Right center field. Eister has done it again. The Gamecocks walk off Clemson as Brady Allen crosses home plate and a stream of burning jerseys makes its way to second base to tackle Andrew Eister. You can put Spurs on a Gamecock win and a series win over Clemson. Andrew Eister does it again, Tommy, to Eister Allen.
Derek Scott, Tommy Moody on the call. The Learfield IMG College Network broadcast right here on 107.5 The Game. Back-to-back walk-off winners from Andrew Eister over the weekend. Has a bunch of Gamecock fans feeling good. And has Mark asking the question on the live stream this morning on YouTube, is it too early to say Gamecock baseball has some of its swagger back? Man, this weekend was fun. I don't think it was too early. Bill, what about you?
Yeah, I think that's what Patrick was. I think Patrick and I both kind of agreed upon that. Yeah, you enjoy this weekend, but there's still a lot of baseball to be played. Let's see how they continue to develop and what they do. Certainly, the early returns are they've got it back. But if they go out and get swept by Texas, if they lose, 4 of their first 6 in SEC play, how are you going to feel? I mean, look, I think Patrick summed it up very, very well in the first hour. There is zero reason you can't be thrilled and excited about the future of this baseball team and what they are. But it is just one weekend, right? It is a great weekend. It's a great day to celebrate. but there's still a lot of baseball against really good teams. That's the other thing. You look at the conference schedule. You look at obviously Texas down the road. Mercer's a good baseball team this coming weekend. Like it's not getting easier from here. You're going to have to continue to play really good baseball for the remainder of the season. You don't want this to be the high point. This is a great moment for South Carolina baseball. Mark Kingston, again, I kind of pointed out they were 12-4 last year when the season shut down. They're 6-0 to start the year, so it's 18-4 over the last 22 games. That's a great little stat to kind of hold on to. But you don't want this to be the high point. Let's see how they take some success and run with it over the next 2 weeks going into that Florida series.
Well, why don't we hear from the Carolina coach then, and how he's trying to keep this in perspective for his team, and how he's looking at this thing now 6-0 after the 2 wins this weekend, and the only 2 games after that Friday game was postponed.
It's a great weekend. That's what it is. It was a great weekend for us. But again, this was not a super regional weekend. They're not passing out golden tickets to Omaha after today. It was a great weekend. I think it was very important for our fans, and that's important to us because it's important to them. But there's a lot of season left. There's a lot of improving to do. All this was one great rivalry weekend that we won 2 games, and then they'll go back to work on their game, and we'll go back to work on our game.
I don't think Gamecock fans, anonymous texter hits us up, realize that Clemson had 4 starters out this weekend and still pushed them literally to the end both games. No Kier Meredith, who dominated Carolina last year. No Sam Hall, Chad Ferry, Adam Hackenberg, and several other names in from clearly a Clemson fan. I think there are plenty of Gamecock fans out there who might understand that and just don't care. I don't think Clemson fans can understand where Gamecock fans have been the last several years. I think it's very fair to say, maybe since 2013, you could argue, from a football perspective, especially in the rivalry. And from that standpoint, it doesn't matter. 2 straight dramatic wins, and then especially wins where it was very much in doubt. When Clemson hits the home run in the 9th inning off of Brett Carey, I mean, the momentum couldn't have swung more dramatically. And I think it's only logical at that point to feel like you just lost the game in a lot of ways. And Carolina then bounced back and won the game, found a way to win the game, and had multiple guys step up, obviously Andrew Ice. And then yesterday, when you take the lead off of the second Wes Clark home run, you're up 5-3, and then Clemson bounces back and goes up 7-5. Well, there's another opportunity to lose a game that you had control of. And so we talk about it all the time, Bill, especially in football. Sometimes it's not just that you lose, but it's how you lose. Well, also, you got to go the other way as well. It's not just that you win, it's how you win. And I think that's where Gamecock fans logically feel really good today, because of not just the outcome, but how it came about and the dramatic way it did. I'm completely with what Mark Kingston was saying there. Great weekend, and feel good about it. But also understand, hey man, there are plenty of areas to improve. That's what you want from your team, Bill, is that you want to continue to improve while winning. And you understand that you're not a perfect team, perfect program, and there are things to work on, but you want to be able to overcome those things and get the wins as you continue to go, especially in baseball with, how the numbers work out, and especially the Gamecock baseball team, knowing that the brunt of the season and the challenge in the SEC schedule, it lies ahead. So to get wins in both these games where it could have gone the other way, I think is what has Gamecock fans very logically and rationally so excited today, and just having the bragging rights against Clemson, obviously.
Yeah, somebody asked one of the either the live stream or on text message how Texas did this weekend, because we were just bringing them up. Texas takes 3 of 4. They played a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series against BYU. They lost the last game on Sunday 5-4, but beat BYU 3-1, 12-6, 11-1 in the first 3 games. Texas will have Texas, Corpus Christi, Texas State, and then a 3-game series against Houston next weekend before Sam Houston, and then the South Carolina series. So just kind of doing that. But you're right. This team, we said it. It's a great moment. It's something to be thrilled about. But this can't be the high watermark of the season. And I think, you look at the football team, this can't be your Georgia from 2019. This can't be your Auburn from 2020. You've got to build upon it and go out and continue to put yourself in position to host a regional and to get to a super regional for it to be a successful season.
See everybody weighing in on that last comment. Trey says, yep, going to file that excuse under, hey, pot, I'm kettle. Cool Care Heating Air text line. Gene, losers make excuses, winners make adjustment. Doesn't matter who is injured. A win is a win. I think it does matter. And Matt says, I wonder if any of those starters were pitchers. They used a Furman transfer in the 7th, a Wofford transfer in the 8th, a Newberry College transfer in the 9th yesterday. Let's talk about that pitching depth for a second of Clemson staff. I don't understand why that matters, Matt. Like, I think Clemson's got a lot of depth on the mound and a lot of reason to be encouraged when you got a true freshman like Ty Olenchuk yesterday throwing it how he was throwing it. But I get it. Gamecock fans have the upper hand right now and are going to use it and should, I think, after everything they've gone through, especially in the rivalry the last several years.
Gamecock Larry also chimed in on that excuse. He just called in and dropped the mic. He said, this is the first I've heard that Clemson had any players out. They didn't bring it up before. Why are they bringing it up now? Just making excuses. Go Gamecocks. That's why hung up.
Just hung up. Didn't even let you get a word in?
No, I disagreed with him. Just making excuses, Gamecock Larry. That's what Clemson fans do. Just make excuses.
So from that perspective, things are different. We talked about it this morning, just how important college baseball is in the state of South Carolina and how it's different. And why another reason why Gamecock fans can feel so good about this thing. And also this weekend, Patrick, did you get this? I know you were in the studio, so you were listening to the game. Did you have it on as well? Were you watching it? Did you get the feeling that this was almost like a normal sporting event with a normal crowd because of the crowd noise and how loud things were?
It definitely sounded like it on the radio. I mean, on the broadcast, it didn't feel as much like that. The radio, it came through more clearly because you could hear it. You wouldn't know how many people were in the stands. The television broadcast, you could see that it was only partially full, and they did like the one ball dropping on the berm and just sitting there, and nobody went to pick it up, and it just sat there until the end of the game. Like things like that, that's when you realize, wow, there's nobody at this game.
And yet it didn't sound that way at all. And plenty of both Gamecock and Clemson fans were watching this thing all over the place with the availability on the ESPN Plus or the SEC Network Plus broadcast. 803-404-6100 if you would like to talk about it this morning. Gamecock baseball off to a 6-0 start. Wes Clark continuing his hot streak with a couple of more home runs, now up to 8. Let you hear what Mark Kingston had to say about his slugger as we continue to roll on this morning. Love to hear plenty of your thoughts for the Gamecocks. Get bragging rights in the rivalry. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Good.
You want zero res here, Patrick? That's a big no. If you haven't told your people by now, sorry to be annoying, but the YouTube subscribers were pumping it up. If you can, subscribe to the YouTube page. We'd certainly appreciate it, even if you're on the Facebook Live or Twitter.
That's right. Good job.
Have you heard Heath's latest idea? So, see what you think about this, Bill. Heath wants to do a 107.5 The Game version of NBA Top Shot, where we just put random clips up and try to auction them off for like $10.75 each to raise money for charity. So he sent me him just running on a sidewalk or running by the camera for like 15 seconds, and then him taking his recycling out to his car. It's pretty hilarious.
Somebody's got to get that guy a friend.
I thought it was hilarious, man.
So we're gonna auction that off. So you just get to keep the clip. I mean, what?
Yeah, it's yours. All yours.
All yours. Yeah.
You can make it a private YouTube clip. Pretty hilarious, I think. Sonny coming in with a classic. Marshawn Lloyd looks good in the clips I've seen.
Yeah, he's ready. Big year. Big year. Apparently we got Hope and Kyle joining us this morning. It's a family affair, so we're really just a family show.
Nice work. Hope continues doing an excellent job driving the YouTube subscribers. But Bill asked if Bill M, I think, asked if Bill Gunter is the only bar hopper amongst the three.
Patrick works too much, and Tim's got 3 kids. That eliminates them. Patrick's always working, and Tim's. I'm really the only one with the ability to go out and mingle amongst the crowd.
Well, I think I'll be out till 2 on Saturday.
Big lacrosse tournament?
No, I'm just excited to leave a bar at 2 a.m. again.
Oh. Yeah, I gotta admit, even at my age, I don't do that anymore. I'm more of an early afternoon kind of guy.
All right, Bill's passing on the yawns to me.
We're combined, Tim. We don't have to break until.
Gotcha.
Need to get back in the gym. I think I went 3 days last week. I wonder if they need to open up the steam rooms and the saunas. What does that mean? I'm not that kind of millennial.
The kind that stays out till 2.
Yeah, I'm 38. I've hit that point. We're counting down the days till 39. 2 months.
I guess nobody pays attention to basketball outside South Carolina basketball around here because we've got no comments. It was a sweet weekend of college basketball. Baylor went down. Michigan's incredible. Iowa, like 2 top 5 teams lost. Villanova lost to Butler.
Here, sir.
Huh?
Everybody was watching baseball around here.
Yeah.
So would like to come back. I'll do a quick liner, but then the Clark home run and then number 5 from Kingston. That cool? You got the Clark homer?
I got it.
Thank you.
Patrick, how'd your Top Shot foray go?
The bubbles burst. I didn't get in time.
Oh, you didn't see the social media posts? He was so bitter.
Yeah. It's okay. The portfolios are dropping like crazy. The Top Shot bubble, I believe, has burst.
Portfolios are dropping?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Bad weekend?
Yeah, I think it was a really bad weekend. They gave packs to everyone that wanted a pack after I didn't get in on the original one. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And you didn't get it?
No, I decided not to. When I saw they're giving packs to everybody, I said, ooh, this is how it ends.
Cats on the roof again. Look at this.
Well, sorry, everybody feels that with baseball season,
How much time we got left?
No time.
Hey, Cat, staying on the roof during this break.
You got a solid minute. I can handle this first minute.
Let me go get it off the roof.
against the wall, and it is going to be over the wall. Wes Clark has done it again.
Yeah, he's locked in. There's no doubt about it. I don't want to talk about it too much. It almost feels like talking about a no-hitter in the 7th inning.
Mark Kingston.
Other than just say, like I said about Ike, he's a great kid that loves the big moments, and he's having a ball playing baseball.
Carolina coach Mark Kingston about Wes Clark. Two more home runs yesterday. Continues to be on another level. And you heard the call from Tommy Moody on the Deerfield IMG College broadcast right here on 107.5 The Game. 8 home runs now on the season through, just 6 games. Absolutely incredible. We wondered how that hitting streak might continue, or that hot streak, the home run streak might continue against another level of pitching with Clemson up next, and clearly it has continued. I was kind of shocked that we didn't get any home runs on Saturday. Clearly, I think that Green Monster played with Carolina hitters' heads. You saw a school record 21 strikeouts that Clemson pitchers got on Gamecock batters, and Carolina was able to overcome it at least with a 3-2 win in 11 innings, and you got to give their pitching staff a bunch of credit for that. But coming back with a couple of home runs yesterday at Founders Park for Clark, and then it was Andrew Eister as the hero for the Gamecocks with the walk-off hits in both the games, has Gamecock fans with bragging rights today and feeling good, especially 803-404-6100. Bill, you need to update everybody on the live video stream. You just had to go chase a cat off a roof. Is that what happened?
Cat's on the roof, and I'm not going on the roof, and so I've just left the door open upstairs, so maybe it'll come wandering in here shortly. But I was not going out on the roof. It meowed at me multiple times as I kept trying to call it inside.
Clemson fans responding, or we had one earlier talking about you need to understand that Clemson had some starters out and the whole thing, and Gamecock fans just not hearing it today at all. Waddy says, injuries now? Here come the excuses. Chris says, my Clemson buddy just said every Clemson fan's excuse on losing. We don't care about baseball. AJ says, to the Clemson guy going the injury route, please now address almost every South Carolina sport since 2013 and go pound sand while doing it. Go Cox. And Thomas suggests Wes the Big Show Clark as another nickname for Wes Clark. Just the fact that can continue, I think, a good sign. How long this hot streak keeps going, who knows? But Wes Clark is on it, and the Gamecocks riding it. I was impressed with how the weekend series started. 3-0 count in the first inning to Wes Clark. The shift was on, a runner was on second. He gets a green light and beats the shift. I thought that showed a lot of confidence in one of the hottest hitters in college baseball for sure. That maybe is a bit of a no-brainer, but it did show an aggressive mindset. And Bill, I think Mark asked earlier, is the swagger back for Carolina baseball? I think in a lot of ways it is, because you're winning games, first of all. So you can have that swagger. You can't have swagger when you don't win games. I think it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, but also how they're approaching these games. How do they put it at the plate? A controlled aggression approach, I think, something like that, where you want to be aggressive, but you also don't want to swing at bad pitches. So you have to have controlled aggression. It's a tricky balance, I think, and we might overstate it if you win games and you get on a bit of a roll. But I think clearly this team has come into the season with the right mindset, and it is working out right now for Gamecock baseball, and Gamecock fans happy to have some bragging rights at this point over Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're clearly, this is a team with a lot of confidence, and at the moment, I think the team is also feeding off of the fan base, which is the confidence with the fan base is growing. We've seen it kind of this morning on the live stream and on the text line with people saying South Carolina baseball is back. I think there's still a long way to go to say that, but there's no reason not to have expectations or usual. There's no reason not to have your usual South Carolina baseball expectations, right? To host a regional, to expect to be in a super regional, and expect an opportunity to go to the College World Series. I think just based on some things we've seen, though, in the past with Carolina athletics, I would say to reserve excitement now and just kind of allow this season to continue to play out. But certainly the hitting, and it's led by Wes Clark, but across the board, the hitting looks very good. And we'll continue to see how it develops. Go win Tuesday against Winthrop, and then take care of business against Mercer, and so forth and so on. And I think the one thing for me, though, is the margin when you play the SEC schedule that they're going to play, the margin for error is so thin. You can't leave 13 guys on and strike out 21 times and expect to win some of those ball games. That's not going to happen. The teams you're going to play in SEC play are really good teams. And South Carolina, Clemson fans can talk about there was injuries. South Carolina didn't go out there and win with 2 A+ efforts. You guys would agree with that, right? Like the numbers that we rattled off on Saturday, when you leave 13 guys on and you have that many missed opportunities and you strike out 21 times, there's things, as Mark Kingston said, that this team can improve upon. And if you go play a Florida, you go play a Vanderbilt, you go play, a Mississippi State, those are good teams that may be in a better position than Clemson to take advantage of that. So I think that there's a lot of reason for optimism. Also, I think that you look at the schedule and you know that margin for error when you get an SEC play is going to be thin. South Carolina can tighten things up a little bit and still have a chance for a really good season. And again, one that, as I just said, you have your normal baseball expectations of hosting a regional and putting yourself in position for the College World Series.
Yeah, Brian, kind of along those same lines on the Facebook live stream. I know it's early and the season continues drastically, but both Clemson and Carolina should host a regional this year. The Gamecocks will make a push for Omaha. It's still really early. But, Bill, from that standpoint, it might be the ideal situation for the coaching staff over at Carolina. First of all, you got to win. If you don't win, you don't have a job, especially when you're at Carolina baseball where the expectations are so high. But also, you don't want your team feeling like it's better than it is. And you said maybe not A+ efforts. I think the effort was there. Certainly not perfect games by any stretch of the imagination, I think is what you're getting at. And plenty to improve upon is what we heard from Mark Kingston as well. Didn't get dominating starts. You had Brett Carey come out of the bullpen on Saturday and pitch pretty well, but gave up a home run. So certainly something to improve upon. I would say maybe for a guy like Will Sanders, a freshman coming out of a bullpen and put in some pressure situations and getting out of that, maybe the best performer out of your pitching staff for the weekend. Julian Bosnick looked pretty good as well, and how they used him I thought was really interesting, having been slated to be the starter on the weekend and coming out of the bullpen in that first game. I think more than anything else, though, Bill, it's the feel around the program that Gamecock fans have right now that they haven't had for a while, in that, hey, we could have easily lost those games, came through in the big moments, and did it against the rival that is pretty good as well. And to have that feeling this morning is something that Gamecock fans haven't gotten the opportunity to have in the last several years.
That's exactly what it is. And I think it's kind of across the board right now. I think there's a breath of fresh air with Shane Beamer and kind of the transparency maybe of the football program, being able to get and speak with assistant coaches. I think that makes people feel better. And then you just need something tangible, something that you can see and really latch on to make you feel really good. And you got that this weekend with a sweep and with a fun, or a 2-0 sweep. Obviously, they'll play a third game on May 11th, but you got that. And you got it with great ball games, and you got it with big plays in big moments. And then obviously Saturday rallying. It looks like Clemson's going to maybe return the favor, win at Founders Park. They score 4 in the 7th, take a 7-5 lead, and it's that toughness that South Carolina baseball is kind of built upon that rears its head and ends up winning the ball game for them.
Alan G., I'm concerned about the amount of strikeouts this early on in the season. I'm with Bill. Schedule's going to get tougher. Alan, I'd say you got to keep that in perspective, man. It was the school record in strikeouts with 21 on Saturday. A texter hits us up. Danny says, I'm not worried about the strikeouts and missed opportunities in that first game against Clemson. That umpire was ridiculously bad, in all caps. And I don't think we talk about officiating by and large very often on this show, but the Florida game a couple of years ago came up in football. with a couple of missed calls. And I'll put this right there with it as the worst officiating that Gamecock fans have seen. It was just bad. I don't know how else to describe it. I mentioned it earlier. Like, as a baseball player or coach, all you ask for behind the plate is consistency, right? You can have a large strike zone or a small strike zone. Just call the same pitch, the same thing every time. And when you're flipping a coin, whether it's going to be a ball or strike, the same pitch, you got no clue. And both teams had plenty of reasons to complain Saturday night. It was not pretty behind the plate. I know it's February, and maybe umpires have had a different type of off season as well with COVID issues and the whole thing, but there was no excuse for that. And the television broadcast, it was very plain to see that it was going to be real difficult for hitters all day long. So I would say, Alan, yep, be concerned about that from Saturday, but understand how bad the strike zone was, and also understand then against really good pitchers again on Sunday, the Gamecocks struck out 8 times. And by and large, this season, the strikeouts are way down. The 2-strike hitting is much improved, and it's still early. And you're going to take on a Florida pitching staff that is fantastic, a Vanderbilt pitching staff that's fantastic, and you can kind of go down the line in the SEC. There are going to be a lot of great pitching staffs the Gamecocks are going to face, and they're going to strike out some. But I would say the early indicators are that this team's going to be able to handle those staffs pretty well compared to maybe 2 years ago where that wasn't the case. But I don't think you need to be overly concerned. Maybe focus on the positive this morning instead of focus on that big 21 strikeout performance. Also, that you're able to overcome that, I should say, which is another good sign. And certainly we can be overhyping or over-exaggerating maybe through just 6 games this season, but I think it is completely fair for Gamecock fans to feel really good about this morning, but also to understand exactly what Mark Houston was saying. No golden tickets handed out to Omaha through 6 games, and you got to keep doing it. I think that's where maybe you can actually be encouraged that this year's team, because it hasn't experienced that type of success in the past couple of years, they're probably more hungry for that than maybe other teams that expect it, or certainly coming off of the Ray Tanner era where the Chad Holbrook era it seemed to get to where you expected it and it just didn't happen, and now you have a new kind of hunger or thirst for that when you're Mark Houston and company.
No, I was doing some research. I've got a football update for you. You know who played this weekend? Can you take a guess?
I know Eastern Washington played, only because there was a bad call.
Also, another school, Eastern Illinois played. You want to Eastern Illinois open to their? You want to guess how they performed?
The Gamecocks' first opponent in the 2021 season just played their first game of 2021, but their spring season, they're playing both. Eastern Illinois is playing. How many games in the spring? Do you say 7? Is that what it was that we looked up the other day? Something like that, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Something, yeah.
I got no clue about Eastern Illinois football. I'm glad you did some research. First of all, who were they playing, sir?
Southeast Missouri State, I believe.
Okay, sure.
Or maybe it's just Southeast Missouri. I'm not 100% sure.
How
They
did
played
that
on
thing go?
Sunday. If you had, depending on how you want to look at it, if you had Southeast Missouri minus 39.5, you were a winner. 47-7. Southeast Missouri rolls Eastern Illinois 47-7.
Wow.
Not a good day for Eastern Illinois. Good day for Southern Illinois.
We can't hear you there, but
Did you see what Southern Illinois did?
the Salukis,
Southern
they didn't
Illinois?
know they had a football team.
They broke the nation's
That's-
longest winning streak.
Oh,
College football's longest winning streak belongs to Alabama now. 39 games in a row North Dakota State has won. Southern Illinois.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when your quarterback doesn't play, right? Like Trey Lance.
Well, he's not their quarterback anymore.
That's what I mean. When he opts out, would they play
He
one
opted
game?
out. He's pro. He's a pro now.
could have played.
You're right. Sorry, but they played one game basically for him during the fall, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the deal?
Yeah, they played a showcase game for him.
Yeah, it's almost like that's not good for your football program.
Playing a
Interesting how that
showcase
works.
game or having your quarterback go to the NFL?
Both. How about that?
Having your quarterback go to the NFL. Long run is probably good, though.
Okay.
2 pros in, 6 years for
Carson Wentz, not
FCS
bad.
program is probably pretty good.
No doubt about it. Where are you in your evaluation process on Lance, by the way? Where you got him 15 overall, right in the middle of the first round?
Yeah. I mean, I like him a lot. My dad and I were talking about it this weekend. If he fell to Washington somehow, I would be over the moon. But there's no shot he falls to 19. I think he'd probably fall to 12 max. He's good. I mean, he's a really, 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 really good runner. Like, he's the best runner in this class and has maybe the strongest arm. He's just got some accuracy issues and doesn't have a ton of experience and hasn't thrown many passes and hasn't played in a ton of games. So he's a little bit raw, but, I mean, he can be used right away as a runner. He's not maybe as fast as Justin Fields, but he runs the ball better. He looks like an actual running back when he's carrying it. He's impressive. I like him a lot. And apparently he's going to destroy on the whiteboard. Like, he is really smart, really high level in preparation, and like would run meetings with the offense by himself when the coaches weren't able to. Like, he's just a really sharp kid. So I think teams are going to fall in love with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he was there at number 8 for the Panthers.
It is.
I would be excited about it if I was a Panthers fan.
It's good. Yeah, it is technically Southeast Missouri State Red Hawks.
Thank you for that.
They'll be getting to the bottom of that.
Did you say there were some stats we need to be aware of? I mean, what kind of stats are you talking about here? If Southeast Missouri State just beat Illinois by 40, what is the line going to be when they come into Wade Price? Right about.
Well, Andrew Bunch is the quarterback for Southeast Missouri State, and he spent 3 years at the University of Nebraska. And he's not just some usual. He's high level here. It's high level. Came in. He was 23 of 37 on Sunday for 302 and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. That's your big football update here.
That's your big football update.
Eastern Illinois not off to a great start in its spring
We
season.
actually
What's
should
up next? Yeah.
We should update. They UT Martin this coming weekend. UT Martin is on the schedule. 2 p.m. on Sunday. 2 p.m. on Sunday. I was going to try real quick here and see if I can locate an update, just because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the in-state teams played as well this weekend. Furman, Wofford. I was going to maybe just try and see if we could get a quick update just so we could recognize them as well. Certainly there was a lot of sports going on around the state. Let's see if I can get a quick update on
while
that.
you do that, there's also there's Power 5 football news, and that we talked about in the live stream. Eric Gilbert has decommitted from Florida, and then Darian Kendrick, former 5-star wide receiver, switched to cornerback, is no longer with the Clemson program. So 2 big transactional news for Gamecock rivals.
Yeah, the Eric Gilbert thing, we talked about that he put out the news on social media that he is decommitted from Florida and will only announce his next school when he is enrolled and on campus. And that has led to the conjecture that maybe it was more of an academic issue to get into Florida, that there was some talk about him not living up to his academic fulfillments there in the fall there at LSU. So that might be part of it. Might be a junior college year we might see for a really talented tight end to get back eligible for 2022.
Be interesting to see. Just to update you, Wofford traveled to Chattanooga this weekend and lost 24-13. Furman was at VMI. VMI pulls it off by 1. VMI 14-13 over Furman, and Citadel falls on the road at Mercer 42-28. There's your FCS update from the weekend for the in-state schools.
And Mercer coming to Columbia this weekend for baseball. Carolina going to Rock Hill to take on Winthrop on Tuesday. Its next game, taking the 6-0 record with them. And then we have an update on some home runs. Chris says the Gamecocks still leading the nation in home runs and 7th in the country in batting average, I think is what he's looked up, hitting .359 as a team. Again, that's another reason I'd say wouldn't worry about the strikeouts so far, especially in just one game on Saturday.
The NCAA baseball website is just ridiculously slow. It's not okay. They need to get better at that. They haven't updated it since February 23rd.
Right on that, huh?
Get better. What are we doing?
I hear you. So, Chris, some of those numbers might not be updated unless you've got a different dark web update that the NCAA website is not keeping up with clearly. 803-404-6100. Patrick, holding everybody to a high standard this morning We'll see if the dramatic conclusion of the show can live up to it. That's coming up next here. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Quick. All right, cheers.
This weekend, not too bad, actually. With the mess around the house, I think it was only maybe an occasional spit up or spilling some of the bottle, the whole thing around my house with the number 3, who's not quite 1 year old. The 8 and 6 year old, they were hanging out with the grandparents. So maybe that's why, now that I think about it. That makes sense, doesn't it? But if you need some professional help around your house, like clearly we do typically, we've had it a couple of times. Zero Res come out to our house. Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning. They've done a great job cleaning our carpets, cleaned an area rug for us, also freshened up the tiles in both the kitchen and bathroom. Zero Res does it differently than anybody else. They have a patented powered water system. No harsh chemicals involved in the process. That's certainly taken any kind of worry off our mind. It does matter to us having the kids right on the carpets as soon as they're clean, no matter if we're telling them to or not. We just have zero control like that at my house. You can get that at your house, the no harsh chemical process, no leftover soapy residue either. That's why the carpets will stay longer with Zero Res. And if you're in charge of a business, they can hook you up there as well. The commercial cleaning division at Zero Res, working day and night, businesses all over the Midlands, following the CDC guidelines, cleaning and sanitizing, making sure everything is safe and clean. And right now, they've got a great deal for you. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, only $109. When you mention me, Tim Hill, 803-262-4020 is where you can call them today, book your appointment. You can also do it online at ZeroResColumbia.com. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. All right, I got to run to the bathroom real quick and got something going on outside my house. And he just left. Both of these guys completely leaving you hanging. Not cool. Not cool at all. It's a great question, Jesse. Why does Southeast Missouri need a state? Is there a regular Southeast Missouri? Oh boy, Bill. All you here. I gotta run to the bathroom real quick.
Oh, good. I went and searched for the cat. I think it has moved on to another house this morning. Could not find the cat. And it's a pretty friendly cat, so it comes out. It doesn't hide. I think we've covered that sufficiently. Oh,
Okay. Trey says, okay, for my daily Panthers therapy, if Lance is there for the Panthers and they haven't traded for Watson or Wilson, should they take him? Yeah, I think they should. Not before Justin Fields. There's a lot of buzz that Justin Fields might end up in Carolina now.
just dropping?
It's hard to say. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of trades. Just Mel Kiper put trades in his mock draft for the first time ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there's too many teams and too many good quarterbacks.
Drew Brees coming back that'd be kind of interesting.
I would hate it.
Yeah, it does seem to set the Saints back a little bit.
I don't know. He's going to end up losing the Saints fan base, and everybody wants him to retire. Just don't come back. Don't ruin it.
Yeah, you did kind of walk out. He did the scene of him and Tom Brady throwing the passes around on the field and everything.
Yeah. Just let it be. Or you didn't get the next Super Bowl, but you're not going to do it next year. They're going to have to cut everybody that's good on their team. There's $70 million over the cap. All right, well, I don't know where Tim went, but we're going to be back in 10 seconds, Bill.
He went to the restroom.
Probably you and I starting this thing off.
Well, all right. Just play something.
All right.
The early game continues with Tim Hill and Bill Gunter on 107.5 The Game.
Never thought I'd live to see the day with Andrew Eister playing with the outfield that shallow. 1-2 pitch. There's a shot, and it's going to be over the head of the center fielder. The Gamecocks have won this game. They played shallow, and they got burned on Andrew Eister. An unbelievable baseball game. 2 outs in the ninth.
Ball hit well. Right center field. Eister has done it again. The Gamecocks hold off Clemson as Grady Allen crosses home plate, and a stream of orange jerseys makes its way to second base to tackle Andrew Eister. You can put spurs on a Gamecock win and a series win over Clemson. Andrew Eister does it again, Tommy, to Eister Alley.
Yeah, and it's amazing sometimes to find really is a thing. We got 2 opportunities. I was very confident in this team. Confident about these guys in the business. So we've seen him do this a lot. So when he came up to the plate, we knew he was a shot.
Mark Hickson, the Carolina
Walk-off win.
Especially, I guess that last comment was after yesterday's second walk-off winner from Andrew Eister. You heard the call there from Derek Scott and Tommy Moody on the Learfield IMG College broadcast. Bill, you were smirking during that. What was going on with all?
Oh, of course. I was thinking well-known Tiger enthusiast Tommy Moody on that first call there. Or what was he referred to earlier? Tiger Homer?
Just biased.
It was just a request for some neutrality.
I think that was Eddie, right? Eddie said he was kidding, but yeah.
No, Eddie was talking about jinxing the fast game
Oh.
going by. This was, I think, an anonymous texter saying that he's never heard someone so enamored with the Clemson baseball team and wanted some neutrality in the move from Tommy Moody.
For the former Gamecock baseball player.
Well-known Tiger apologist, Tommy Moody. He was fun to listen to. That's a great clip right there. I did have to wonder when he says he never thought he would live to see the day. Like, don't you have to have somebody who's played more than 3 years to be able to use that? Like, I mean, that seems like a pretty quick. But Eister is known as a long ball hitter. What is again? And I apologize, I've lost it here. We were talking about the home run numbers going away from Eister, but where is Wes Clark with home runs now on the season?
He's hit 8 now in 6 games. Pretty impressive.
And he had how many last year? I know we did this over the weekend. It was at 14 through 20. Was that where we were at coming out of the Winthrop game?
Right. So I think he had 8 last year as well. It's on 5.
I don't know enough about like the baseball drafts, but he's going to be the top 10 pick, right?
No, it doesn't
That's not how it
work
works.
that way. Yeah. First of all, you got to keep it going. It's just we're 6 games in, right? But power hitters especially, I mean, you have to really have the average up there and to go with the power in college baseball a lot of times to be a really high pick. We'll see. It's still awfully early, and there's still a lot of high school guys involved, and then you just never know exactly how it's going to go. But I know you're all into your draft board on the NFL right now. Not quite the same when it comes to the Major League Baseball draft.
Don't know anything about the baseball draft.
More about Andrew Eister. Greg and Sumter says there absolutely should be a sign hung on the right center wall saying Eister Alley. I'd be fine with that staying there for quite a while. Daniel says, what's Eister's nickname? Iceman? I think it is just Ice at this point, which is about as good a nickname as you can get in sports, especially when it's already in your name. So I don't know if we need to go where Trey is going. He says, for all my negative statements about nicknames, the Tiger King seems to fit Andrew Eister right now. I think somebody gave Michael Roth that already. I don't know if
We did that over the weekend about Wes Clark too. So
right. Hope just says, I have the Tiger. Jesse gives us the math and says that Wes Clark is on pace for 72 home runs right now. Should be doable. I think that would break that Pete Incaviglia record that we brought up. I think
by just a couple. He'd slide by it by just a few.
How Carolina handles this now will be interesting for me, Bill, because it's one thing to go into this unique offseason, right? So Carolina was 12-4 and kind of rolling going into SEC play last year, but they were doing it off the 4 disappointing losses. It was 2 series losses, 1 to Northwestern and 1 to Clemson. So you go into the offseason still with plenty to prove, and certainly Mark Kingston as the Carolina coach now going into his 4th year, but it really is only 3rd full season, having the first season be 1 win away from Omaha in the Super Regionals, and then the second season at just 28-28. Certainly still plenty to prove there from just a program standpoint. But what you said earlier, I think, is a great point. Gamecock fans are now back, from a baseball perspective, to where they've been, to what this program has been, in that it should compete for an SEC and a national championship. And to have gotten to this point early on, so early on in 2021, I think is almost like a huge breath or sigh of relief, a huge, I think, kind of pressure reliever for this program, because they all know, all these players and coaches know exactly what's expected out of them. Mark Kingston took the job after Chad Holbrook had it. He understood what happened with the Holbrook situation and how good compared to other college baseball programs the South Carolina teams have been, and yet it wasn't good enough for the fan base, not good enough for the expectation, not good enough for a program that played for 3 straight national championships and won 2 of them. And now to be back there, how they maintain it from here will be the most interesting part to me, because the emotions are certainly riding high, and they should be, like we pointed out, and Patrick, I think, probably put best, that you got to celebrate after you beat your rival in back-to-back walk-offs.
Yeah, who was it earlier who said, texted in and said the air's cleaner, the sun is warmer, or whatever. Yeah, enjoy today. Enjoy today and enjoy a little bit of a change in the weather. The beginning of March, we're 2 weeks away from the time changing. I guess 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, Saturday, Sunday, however you want to define that. But certainly the baseball team gives you a lot of hope and excitement right now for the way that they've performed through the first 6 games of the season. Now, can they maintain it? I think your question is very valid. How do they handle a little bit of success right now? Do they come out and are they mentally prepared on Tuesday night? The game's at Winthrop. This one's at Winthrop this week, correct? I'm right on that. Yeah. So how do you go on the road? Be a little bit different there, going up playing at Winthrop. How do you go up and mentally handle that? Then next weekend, obviously, again, a series against Mercer that we will all expect them to definitely win the series, and probably all lean toward them sweeping. So now that you get a little bit of expectations, you get a few more eyeballs on you, how do you perform?
Well, I think there are a couple of good signs there. First of all, you had a scythe in the dugout because I guess Brady Allen is known as a Soul Reaper. It was like their Halloween costumes. So in baseball, you got to have some goofiness, man. It is a long season, and there's a lot of downtime. And we saw it, I think, with those championship teams back in the day. You had some goofiness. You saw it with the great teams in the early part of this century, right? Back in 2000, you had Trey Dyson there adding some comic relief, let's say. And to hear flumptuous and translucence of the baseball in the post-game comments after just knocking off your in-state rival with walk-off wins, I think that's a good sign that this team doesn't take itself maybe too seriously and will be able to handle success moving forward. But we'll see. That's all part of the fun. Appreciate you joining in on the fun today, whether you did it just listening or you actually contributed to the program on the live video stream on YouTube or Facebook or on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Thanks for listening to the early game here. Patrick, excellent job over there. Bill, get some sleep, man.
Clear.
So can you guys hear the power washing going on right outside my garage?
Yeah, I hear that. I thought it was a fan.
Sorry about that. So I'm going to stop the live stream here, and that'll do it. Not yet, I don't think, Greg. The rankings should be out a little later this morning. I would imagine the Gamecocks will be right around 10 or 12. But I wouldn't think they would move too much.
Subscribe.
Oh, yeah, YouTube, baby. Pass the word on. Until tomorrow, KT. Well done. See you guys.